Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Sign in a new species every day. Chapter 1. The wind on the rooftop was a little noisy, and Lu Xuanji stood on the edge of the building, his thin body crumbling. Just 2 days ago, Lu Xuanji accidentally ran into the company's general manager Zhou Fugi harassing his girlfriend in the corridor, so he decisively stepped forward to stop it. Yesterday, the list of layoffs that was about to be released among colleagues was impressively named Lu Xuanjia. Colleagues are incredible about this. After all, Lu Xuanji has been in the company for many years and is considered to be the pillar of the technology department. Lu Xuanji only learned of the news this morning, and it was accompanied by news that his girlfriend Xu Su fell from the 32nd floor of the Xin restaurant this morning and died. Lu Xuanji came to work in a daze, but he heard from his colleagues that Xu Su went to Zhou Fugi yesterday for his dismissal. Lu Xuanjia woke up immediately. Xu Su couldn't jump off the building for no reason. Therefore, he also went to find Zhou Fugi, but he was humiliated and kicked out of the office. Lu Xuanjia, who was very angry, only hated his lack of power to bind the chicken, and could not avenge Zhou Fugi for Xu Su's revenge. So he did the only thing he could do, deleted the library and ran away. But he also knows that after doing all this, he can no longer assume that nothing has happened, and continue his peaceful life. The company he works for belongs to the Chen family in Xinchen City. After the old days, the Chen family is one of the 3 major families in Xinchen City, with great power and countless masters. His operation caused no less than 1 billion economic losses to the Chen family, and the Chen family could not easily let him go. Rather than being captured by the Chen family and tortured in every possible way, it is better to die. Lu Xuanjia opened his arms and rushed down into the wind. It's been a few seconds, why haven't you fallen to the end? Or, it doesn't hurt to die by jumping off the building. Lu Xuanji was a little puzzled. Hey, kid, wake up. Just when Lu Xuanji was puzzled, a voice rang. Lu Xuanjia opened his eyes and saw that he was floating in the clouds, with a familiar figure standing in front of him. Grandpa, haven't you been dead for more than 10 years? Lu Xuanji was stunned, and asked the little old man in front of him with some uncertainty. Grandpa, I'm not dead, time is running out, this is for you, don't leave the solar system, remember. The little old man slapped a fluorescent bead into Lu Xuanjia's forehead with a palm. I'm going. The hallucinations have all come out, and I actually saw Grandpa. Don't leave the solar system yet, do I have that ability? Lu Xuanji rubbed his eyes, and the grandfather in front of him had disappeared. He was not in the clouds, but was standing on the rooftop. Could it be that everything just now turned out to be just a trance, and he hasn't had time to jump at all? Lu Xuanji gave a wry smile, really unexpected. Before the last death came, what he thought of was the grandfather who hadn't met a few times. Lu Xuanjia closed his eyes and prepared to continue jumping off the building. At this moment, a voice rang. Ding! The all-living beings system has been activated and the sign-in function is on. Do you want to sign in today? Did you let people jump off the building? Lu Xuanji was stunned for 2 seconds. This is system. The system in the novel. Did Grandpa really show up just now? He gave it to own, is it the system? Lu Xuanji's company has also tried to develop the kind of system in the novel, but even the simplest function is difficult to achieve. A very basic problem is that, as creators of the system, they cannot make things out of nothing, and they cannot allow the system to provide a source of materials out of thin air. Sign in. Lu Xuanji yelled with excitement in his heart. Boom! There was a thunderbolt in the originally clear sky, with dark clouds covering it. Lu Xuanjia shrank his head and jumped off the railing and hid in the corridor. Ding! Sign in successfully. Get a new species illustration book, first order illustration book, underground rat. Lu Xuanjia's mouth twitched. What the hell? A mouse? Don't people's systems always send women to buildings and places when they sign in? What is this thing? Underground rat. A first-order rodent evolved from an ordinary rat. Usually life is in the sewer of a city. It has teeth that can cut gold and jade, and can smash the concrete floor. The host has opened this picture book, and the daily limit is 200,000. Can be upgraded, can be advanced, can be integrated, cannot be demonized. An earthy gray data card appeared in front of Lu Xuanji. In the center of the picture was the image of an underground rat, and the surrounding text recorded some information about the underground rat. Creation. Lu Xuanji looked away from the illustrated book and fell on the ground, where he could see a mouse-shaped three-dimensional model. After confirming the creation, a black-haired mouse with a large palm appeared on the ground, squeaking, and ran over to sniff Lu Xuanjia's trousers, trying to climb onto him. I'm going. Go away. Lu Xuanjia instinctively took 2 steps back, disgustingly said. The little mouse listened, as if he could understand people's words, stepped back again and again, rubbing his 2 small front paws, and there was a bit of grievance in his dark eyeballs. Lu Xuanjia looked at his hands in shock, and he actually created a mouse. Although he didn't know it was useful, it was definitely a very awesome skill. Out of nothing. After the old days, the world has changed drastically, and there have been many abilities. These abilities are diverse, but they are born out of nothing. They are recognized as one of the 3 top abilities, ranking first. The only person in the world who is capable of being born out of nothing can only create some dead things like steel, stone, magma, and he can create living things. The daily limit of creation, 200,000. After returning to his senses, Lu Xuanjia noticed this rule in the illustrated book and thought about it. A rat is not very powerful, but 10,000, 100,000, 200,000. These little mice have sharp teeth to cut gold and jade. The anger in Lu Xuanjia's heart was ignited again, but at this time there was a little more hope in his heart. He saw the dawn of revenge. Create, create. Lu Xuanjia continued to create underground rats on the rooftop, and within a short period of time, there were a large number of small rats behind him. At this time, the system can't stand it anymore. Host, IMHO, you are the second fool. Don't you create it in batches? Did you say that there is this function? Lu Xuanji was taken aback for a moment, and then asked back. I think normal people should know that it is impossible for the creator to create individuals one by one. If the system has a body, it must be rolling its eyes at this time. Created in batches, 197,654. Lu Xuanji ignored it and ran out of today's creation quota. Squeak, squeak. But what Lu Xuanji didn't expect was that the rooftops were occupied by underground rats, the corridors were occupied by underground rats, and even numerous underground rats appeared inside the company, screaming again and again. And these underground rats beside Lu Xuanjia started to kill each other. Lu Xuanjia stopped these 2, and the others started to kill each other. It was too late to stop them. In a small space, if there are too many of the same species, they will kill each other. The system explained. The rodents are okay. After all, rodents are also social, and they can tolerate similar species. In this space, only 20,000 can be accommodated. If the number is reduced to less than 20,000, they will stop killing each other. NS. I'll go. Why didn't you say it earlier? I can never watch them kill each other, right? Is it too late to let them disperse now? Lu Xuanjia vomited. This system is really an afterthought. There is only one way to create a high-rank rat king to rule ordinary underground rats. The system continued. Advanced. How to fix it? Lu Xuanjia asked, recalling the words, advanceable, under the underground rat illustrated book. Upgrade has a certain chance to advance, and there is also a chance to advance and upgrade. The system explained, and a detailed step-by-step diagram appeared in front of Lu Xuanji. Fusion. Lu Xuanjia grabbed 2 underground rats and issued instructions. Ding. Same rank merges with the same species, the success rate is 80%, the upgrade rate is 0.1%, is it fusion? Yes. Ding. You are out of luck, the fusion failed. Fusion. Lu Xuanjia raised his brows. Fortunately, labor and capital have 200,000 underground rats. Failed. Go on. Ding. You are out of luck. Ding. You are out of luck. Ding. If the fusion is successful, upgrade is triggered, and you will get a tier 2 money rat. Ding. You have opened the second order pictorial. Money rat, and you will get a reward of the pictorial book, with 100 million money. Ding. Zhefubao arrived, 100 million yuan. After more than a dozen failures, Lu Xuanjia seriously doubted the 80% success rate of fusion. It seemed that God couldn't stand it anymore, and the sound of success prompt sounded. There were a series of tinkling sounds, making Lu Xuanjia feel a burst of happiness, as if 30 aunts sang, "Good luck," in his ears. Lu Xuanji opened the new picture book, which was a virtual panel with a pale gold frame like a book cover and a quaint atmosphere. It displayed pictures of the money rat and some text information. Money rat Tier 2 alien species, a second-grade upgraded species derived from ordinary rats. It has the special ability to search for money. Its agility and defense are twice that of ordinary rats. Low-level upgraded species cannot be upgraded twice. Create the upper limit in a single day. 10. Can be upgraded, can be advanced, can be integrated, cannot be demonized. Perhaps because it is an upgraded species, the upper limit of creation of the money rat is very low compared to the underground rat. But what Lu Xuanjia needs at this time is not a large-scale species, but a rat king who can command the underground rat. The money rat suppresses the underground rat at the same level, and after an upgrade, it has a natural suppressing power against the ordinary underground rat, and should be capable of being the rat king. Lu Xuanjia immediately created a money rat. With golden hair all over his body, his head became a little rounder compared to other mice, and a rather naive money rat appeared in Lu Xuanji's hand. Look at this coat color, tisk tisk, it is a nobleman at first glance. Lu Xuanji raised his hand, the money rat landed on the ground, his upper body stood up, and squeaked several times at the chaotic underground rat. The underground rat, who had been playing happily, heard the sound of the money rat, and a look of fear appeared in its small eyes. The several underground rats in front of the money rat stopped fighting immediately and gave way to the money rat. Squeak, squeak. The money rat kicked its hind legs and sprinted forward, squeaking at the surrounding underground rats. For a moment, the money rat was like a golden thread and had already ran the entire rooftop. The underground rats that had killed each other all stopped, and raised their fronts one after another, looking at the money rat like a pilgrimage. The money rat jumped back to Lu Xuanjia's hand, squeaking, his small proud eyes seemed to be asking for credit. Lu Xuanjia put it on his shoulders and walked into the corridor. Your name is Xiaojin number 1, Lu Xuanjia said to the money rat on his shoulder as he walked. There was some silence along the way. Lu Xuanji was a little regretful, wondering if it was too late for him to get the system, and there were some things that could not be undone. But some things are too late, such as revenge. Along the way, the departments on the upper floors were empty, and there were underground rats everywhere, like a black torrent. Soon, Lu Xuanji returned to his original office floor. The colleagues in the department were fleeing in panic. If it weren't for the new day and didn't get good abilities, who would do this kind of hard and tiring work? Woolen cloth. Lu Xuanji, what's going on? The panicked colleagues saw Lu Xuanji coming from the underground rat group and couldn't help asking him in surprise. Although these underground rats are only the first order, they can cut gold and jade with a single bite. The colleagues only had time to kill a few of them, and the entire office was submerged by underground rats. The desk, the computer, the chair, the floor, everything that can be seen, was creaked by the underground rat, and soon became incomplete. Before Lu Xuanji appeared, they saw a colleague being submerged by a swarm of rats. In less than 5 seconds, he was gnawed so much that there were no bones left. Seeing the screaming and retreating colleagues, Lu Xuanjia raised his hand, and the underground rats that had rushed towards them all avoided and ran to other places. A pillar was gnawed off, the ceiling was crumbling, and fragments continued to fall downward. The whole big office is a doomsday scene. I'm going to find Zhou Fugi, have you seen him? Lu Xuanji asked his frightened colleagues. The old thing should no longer be in his office. Lao Kai Fan ran with the security guard. A female colleague with a mushroom head replied. Thank you. Lu Xuanji thanked him, and turned to chase down the stairs. What's the matter with Lao Lu? Those mice seemed to understand him. After Lu Xuanji left, his colleagues couldn't help talking. Stop talking, looking at these mice, I got goosebumps all over. Vomit. Run, this building is going to collapse. Zhou Fugi did it this time. Lao Lu's ability is at least the 3rd tier. Behind them, colleagues were talking and ran downstairs quickly. With a colleague, Lu Xuanji had a good relationship with them before, and he could not kill them. In the parking lot, Zhou Fugi hurriedly raised his glasses and tried to start the car. But at this time, the Mercedes-Benz sedan that he had just bought with a huge amount of money not long ago could not catch fire. Mr. Zhou, let us in and take us together. Zhou, you can't cross the river and demolish the bridge. Several security guards gathered around the car and kept tapping the window glass. The spine-chilling squeak was getting closer and closer, and a few big black mice ran past in front of them quickly. Go away. Don't get in the way. Joe Fugi yelled, and finally hit the car with a hint of joy on his face. However, at this moment, the car that had been hitting suddenly turned off. Without waiting for Joe Fugi to figure out the reason, the entire car sank. The security guards who had surrounded the car also fled and left the garage. The dozen or so underground rats that ran over first had already gnawed on the engine and tires of Joe Fugi's car in just a few seconds. The hard iron skin is like tofu in the mouth of an underground rat, and it breaks with one bite. Joe Fugi quickly reached out to open the car door, trying to run away as soon as the number of underground rats was still low. However, at the corner of the garage, Lu Xuanji in a messy suit walked over with a large group of underground rats. Behind him, the underground rats merged into a black ocean, surging extremely fast, and Lu Xuanji seemed to be stepping on the top of the wave. Countless underground rats passed Lu Xuanji and rushed towards Joe Fugi's car. Joe Fugi screamed, closed the car door hurriedly, sweating profusely, sitting in the driver's seat with a look of collapse. Lu Xuanji, how could it be you? What the hell is going on? Evil research, I know, what the hell, you must be doing evil research quietly. Manager Chen will not let you go, you can't run, you can't run. Joe Fugi's eyes widened in horror, and he yelled at Lu Xuanji outside the car window. 3 years ago, the catastrophe of the old day, yin and yang reversal, the universe was overthrown, and the new day has come since then. There have been many capable people and fierce beasts in the world, but most people are still ordinary even in the new day, unable to awaken their abilities. Some scientists began to study the changes in the new day and the reasons for the emergence of capable people. However, that was not the realm that Lu Xuanji could touch. Run, I'm sorry, I never thought about running. Lu Xuanji lowered his eyes and looked at Joe Fugi with a cold expression. Bang! Joe Fugi's car was stuck again. Bang! Lu Xuanji kicked towards the window, and the broken car immediately fell apart. Julie, right? Lu Xuanji asked with a sneer, grabbing Joe Fugi's collar. Today, when Lu Xuanji went to find Joe Fugi's theory, he was beaten up by Joe Fugi with his great power. What do you want to do? Joe Fugi asked, raising his fist. The next moment, but Joe Fugi screamed. The underground rats had crawled all over Joe Fugi's body. The moment he shot, the hand was bitten by a few underground rats, leaving only bones. After a while, there were no more bones left. Lu Xuanji released Joe Fugi, kicked Joe Fugi's chest, and kicked him away. I will make you die 100 times more painful than Susu. 1,000 times. The screams continued in the garage, and the underground rat completely swallowed a person in just a few seconds, but it took Joe Fugi more than 10 minutes to slowly feel the painful attack. In the center of Xinchen, another city in the sky that resembles the reflection of a city is suspended in the sky. Those who live here are those who have awakened after the new day. And the Chen family, in this sky city, owns a 50-acre manor in the core area. Chen Jiayi, who is in charge of the Xinchen Second Company where Lu Xuanji is located, received a call from the superintendent of the city on the ground, Wailuo, 5 minutes ago. Manager Chen, it's not good. The building of your Chen family on Qianjin Road collapsed. I heard a few people who ran out said that many rats and animals suddenly appeared in the building. What? Chen Jiayi jumped up from the chair almost instantly when he heard it. He is one of the housekeepers of the Chen family and is responsible for the management of the Xinchen Second Company. This company's business covers restaurants, securities, digital, entertainment and other aspects. The building not only contains most of the company's employees, but also servers and other important utensils. If the building collapses, the loss will be immeasurable. How can a mere low-level rat beast let the building collapse? After regaining his senses, Chen Jiayi frowned and asked. After the new day, many fierce beasts appeared in the world, but the level of strength of these fierce beasts was largely related to their own race. Ordinary rats are very weak, and the rat beasts are generally not strong, and belong to the existence that ordinary people can kill. Although it is a stray rat, but the number is unpredictable. There was a noise on the other end of the phone, and Chen Jiayi only heard the sound of Governor Luo hurriedly organizing the ability to kill rats. Lu Xuanji had already given up the 200,000 underground rats at this time and let them escape for their lives. With these 200,000 underground rats, the target is too big. Now that there is a system, he doesn't want to die. Taking advantage of the chaos of the crowd, Lu Xuanji pretended to be a crowd who had also escaped from the building and slipped away quietly. System, can you increase my personal strength? Lu Xuanji walked on the street and asked the system. Until now, he was still an ordinary person, and did not have any abilities similar to those of the awakened, except for creating underground rats. Of course, you can extract the special abilities of the created species, such as the underground rat's ability to cut gold and jade, and the money rat's sense of money. The system replied. How to extract? Need energy value. How does the energy value come from? Special ore can be converted into energy value. According to the system, Lu Xuanjia immediately understood that the various spars that appeared after the new day, scientists are still studying this spar. This spar contains a powerful force that cannot be used by humans for the time being. Lu Xuanji immediately took a taxi to the jade market, because the spar was very beautiful, and the energy in it was unusable. It was mostly made into jewelry by merchants, hoping to subtly absorb the special energy through wearing it. At the same time, Chen Jiayi, the legendary boss of the company, has come to the surface city to investigate the cause of the underground rat with the city guard. All the employees who escaped from the building were not comforted. Instead, they were gathered and asked about all the details they knew about the incident. When I asked Lu Xuanji's colleagues in the technology department, they looked at each other. Lu Xuanji saved their lives, and they couldn't confess him. But when other colleagues hesitated, a greasy man with glasses yelled out, "It's Lu Xuanji. We saw him order these rats and beasts to put the floor of the pillars in the company, as well as the employees, all nibbled. Not even a bit of scum is left, it's so cruel." Zhao Yang. The other colleagues stared at him with wide eyes. They couldn't believe that he sold Lu Xuanji so easily. According to the statistics just released by the City Health Department, in this disaster, the survival rate of the company's employees was only 20%. If it weren't for Lu Xuanji, the people in the technology department would have died 7 or 88. Zhao Yang didn't even glance at his colleagues. Instead, he said to the dark-faced Chen Jiayi, "Steward Chen, what I said is true. It's our employee. Why did he do this?" Chen Jiayi asked in a deep voice. "Hey, it's not his girlfriend yet. Let me tell you, that woman is so coquettish, she couldn't seduce Manager Zhou. She felt losing face, she jumped downstairs and fell to her death. The surnamed Lu is revenge for his girlfriend," Zhao Yang said vividly. He was originally a subordinate of Lu Xuanji, and he had only been in the company for 3 months. Lu Xuanji often pointed out his mistakes and omissions in his work and helped him modify the code. In the eyes of other employees, it can be said to be a promotion. However, for Zhao Yang, Lu Xuanji only knows to let him run errands and train him all day long, which makes him very faceless. "This is what I hate." "Ha, stupid," Chen Jiayi snorted coldly, making Zhao Yang shudder. This is the strength of the third order awakened person. Even if it is just a cold snort, it can cause the wind to stir. An awakened beast control system dare to oppose the Chen family. It's too impatient to live. Wu Feng, Xiao Qin, Zheng Xinyu, I will give you 3 days to bring his head back. Chen Jiayi instructed the 3 men behind him. It's just a Tier 1 awakener, don't we all go, right? Wu Feng squeezed an underground rat in his hand and said to Chen Jiayi. There are many Tier 1 awakeners like Lu Xuanjia in the Chen family, but they are all Tier 3. Do you think this building is not worth it? So, how about going to report to the master instead? Chen Jiayi questioned Wu Feng, looking at the collapsed building in front of him and the big black mice that kept popping up from everywhere. Wu Feng swallowed, then stepped back. Indeed, it is hard to imagine that such destructive power can be possessed by a Tier 1 awakened person. In terms of the loss caused by Lu Xuanji, he is worth it. At the jade market, Lu Xuanjia rushed between the various small vendors. How much are these spar jewelry? Hey, the young man has vision. The spar is a gem that only appears after the new day. It contains rich abilities and is definitely the trend of the future. The boss's eyes brightened and he greeted enthusiastically. Stop talking nonsense, just talk about how much money. Lu Xuanji rolled his eyes and urged. Urgent, urgent. The Chen family is very powerful. The managers of the city on the ground come from the 3 big families. They are like dogs in front of the 3 big families. It doesn't take much time to find out that he wants to increase his strength as much as possible. Wholesale price, 20,000 pieces. The boss picked up a spar necklace and said, I need all of these. Lu Xuanji nodded. The boss gave him twice the price as usual, but he didn't have a choice. Anyway, the system rewarded him with 100 million yuan. The boss's eyes lit up and he looked regretful, mad, the price is low. The owners of the other stalls also looked up, his eyes seemed to be hoping for Lu Xuanji to continue to buy from their shop. However, Lu Xuanji directly took all the spar jewelry from the vendor in front of him, a total of 70 pieces, 1.4 million. Afterwards, he left the jade market directly. Conversion. Ding. You get 86,513 energy points. 70 jewelry, all converted into energy value, or only more than 80,000 points. Extract the underground rat ability. Ding. The extraction is successful, and the energy consumption is 2W points. Lu Xuanjia felt it quietly, there was a powerful force circulating in his body, and finally condensed on his teeth. Dage, can't it work around? Using his teeth to cut gold and break jade, Lu Xuanjia felt a bit funny when he thought about the fighting scenes. Wanted. Lu Xuanji. Wanted, employee of Xinchen's second company, Lu Xuanji. Today, the second company of Xinchen has an incident involving people with vicious ability jeopardizing city safety. Lu Xuanji, his girlfriend, seduced the company boss. Lu Xuanji was walking on the street, and news about him was shown on the LED screen that originally played the advertisement. Lu Xuanji stopped in front of an advertising screen and looked up at the familiar face on the screen. Zhao Yang is being interviewed by the media. In the interview, he vividly described how Lu Xuanji's girlfriend seduced Zhou Fugi, as if he had witnessed it with his own eyes. Lu Xuanji clenched his fists tightly and stared at Zhao Yang, who was browsing in the news. Some passers-by looked over, and this person looked a bit like the wanted criminal who was just announced in the news. Lu Xuanjia lowered his head, put his hands in his pockets, and quickly left the busy street and turned into the dark alley of the city. Tisk, look at this face, it's so tender. Let go of me. My dad is Sun Zhengyi. You dared to move me, believe it or not, I cut your hand. Deep in the alley, a little idiot blocked the little girl in a princess dress with a bare backpack in the corner with a wretched look. The little girl threatened with anger, but it was a pity that the little gangster was not moved at all. Miss, don't you look at what kind of land this is. If your dad is Sun Zhengyi, you will be here. The little fool grinned. Let go of her. Lu Xuanji raised his head to look at the gangster and ordered. The little fool turned his head and said with a cruel expression, Boy, this is not your nosy. With that, he rushed towards Lu Xuanjia in an instant. Is it a first-order speed-capable person? Lu Xuanji's eyes condensed, and he raised his hand, and the moment the gangster rushed over, a big black mouse pounced on his face. Being blocked from sight, the little fool exclaimed, What is this? Lu Xuanji pulled the small fist's arm and bit down. Sure enough, it was the same as the teeth of an underground rat, cutting gold and jade, biting bones like tofu. It's just a little disgusting. Bah! Lu Xuanji spit out a mouthful of blood, and kicked the fool away. Ah! The 3 underground rats gathered around the little fool, biting him, and after a bite, they were all gone. It's a pity that there are only so few underground rats now, all 3 underground rats are full, and the little fool is not dead. Lu Xuanji had to walk over and broke his neck with 1 foot. When he had just left the company, in order not to become the target of the city guards that had already arrived, Lu Xuanji gave up a large number of underground rats and rushed into the crowd pretending to be fleeing people. But it is still possible to take away a few underground rats. Now he has 3 underground rats and 1 money rat. Ding! Your underground rat has swallowed through, breakthrough. The voice of the system rang. The original slap-sized underground rat grew to half an arm length in a blink of an eye, like a kitten-like body. What's the use of upgrading? Lu Xuanji asked the system. Of course it is stronger. Compared with the level 1 underground rat, the level 2 underground rat has sharper teeth and claws, and the speed, power, defense, etc. have weak ascension. Can I extract the sharpness of the underground rat's claws? Lu Xuanjia asked next. No, although the claws of level 2 underground rats have also become sharp, they have not yet formed their abilities alone and cannot be extracted. When Lu Xuanji was communicating with the system, Sun Miao Miao looked at him in shock. How could anyone have the ability to control mice? This is too disgusting. Ah! Sun Miao Miao screamed, turned and ran away. Lu Xuanjia looked at Sun Miao Miao's back, and after a moment, laughed at himself. Really nosy. However, seeing this scene at the time, he was physically instinctive and couldn't ignore it. He thought uncontrollably, if Susu encountered this, if no one could help her. Oh, never again, never worry about it. Lu Xuanju trembling and took out a cigarette and started smoking. What happened today was a bit too exciting for a program ape who is usually just an otaku. The Chen family is the king of Xinchen City, and he is now in the tiger's den. Lu Xuanjia didn't consider running away, he had nothing to worry about in this world. But he doesn't plan to die, because he has a system. He wants to fight the Chen family, maybe it will be interesting. Lu Xuanji evaded the search by the city guards, and finally created 9 money rats and 13 rats, dug an underground passage for him to connect the city sewer. Lu Xuanji stayed here until 12 midnight. Ding, do you want to sign in? Yes. Lu Xuanjia, who was napping against the wall of the sewer, opened his eyes instantly and confirmed. Ding, sign in successfully. Congratulations, you have opened the Tier 3 Blue Wing Bird illustrated book. The pale cyan picture book shows a picture and information of a cyan bird. Qing Wing Bird Tier 3. It is rumored that a spirit bird with a trace of Qing Luan's blood has the ability to flap its wings for 10 miles, control the wind, and fly its feathers. Daily creation limit 5. Can be upgraded, can be advanced, can be integrated, can be demonized. Demonization requirement 10 drops of Qingluan's blood. What is demonization? Lu Xuanji couldn't help asking the system when he saw a species that could be demonized for the first time. Just as you think, what you create now is just ordinary species. Although there are some special abilities, there are only a few fixed ones. Only advanced and upgraded can add new abilities. The demonized monster not only has the ability to learn independently, but also has an IQ not lower than that of humans, and can even be cultivated to the point of speaking and transforming. The system explained. This demand for demonization is too nonsense. If I can get the blood of Qingluan, what do I need to demonize a blue-winged bird? Lu Xuanji grinned bitterly. Creation. Lu Xuanji immediately used up today's creation quota to create all 5 blue-winged birds. Each blue-winged bird has a wingspan of about 2 meters, stands 50 to 60 centimeters high, and is not small in size. Of course, the important thing is that the blue-winged bird has 3 abilities, which Lu Xuanji can extract. Extract the ability of the blue-winged bird to flap its wings for 10 miles. Lu Xuanjia ordered. This ability, of course, requires the wings of a blue-winged bird, but Lu Xuanjia does not have wings. Lu Xuanjia wondered if he had extracted this ability, would he grow a pair of wings? In this way, he can fly, and his survivability will be greatly ascension. The ability to fly is itself a good ability for the Awakener. In the 9th tier ability hierarchy chart, it is ranked first among the 3rd tier. Those with the ability to fly are stronger and have a higher status in society than those with the same realm's power, speed, and super audio-visual capabilities. The extraction is successful, and the energy cost is 5W. As the system prompt sounded, a familiar powerful force boiled in Lu Xuanjia's body, and finally condensed behind him. Ah! Lu Xuanjia couldn't help crying out in pain, dripping with blood, and a pair of blue wings spread out from Lu Xuanjia's back. The system, you are too dark. Lu Xuanji grinned with pain, but complained that the system was too expensive to extract this ability. Lu Xuanji's parents had passed away unexpectedly 3 years ago, during the old catastrophe, and only his childhood sweetheart girlfriend was his only concern in this world. After the current changes, Lu Xuanji didn't know if he was a little abnormal. This painful feeling was more like pain and happiness. Mainly the strength is also ascension. I don't know what you are talking about, this system has no body, neither black nor white. The system replied. Ha! Lu Xuanjia snorted coldly, just about to pierce this garlic-equipped system, but instinctively sensed that the danger was coming. Boom! With a loud noise, the rubble flew up obliquely, splashing towards Lu Xuanjia. Lu Xuanji merged the 2 wings to block him, and after the explosion, he shook his wings apart, and saw 3 men jumping out of the broken hole and walking towards him. A sturdy bald fatty, a middle-aged man with narrow eyes, and a young man in blue casual clothes. Are you from the Chen family? Lu Xuanji glanced around and asked them. The members of the city guard wear uniforms, except for the members of the city guard, only the Chen family. Dual ability awakened person, it's amazing, why do people like you run to become a programmer? Wu Feng touched own bald head and smiled. Stop talking nonsense, take him back to life. It's really disappointing. I originally arranged a candlelight dinner, but now I can only get rid of the fun in this sewer. Zheng Xinyu looked displeased, snapped his fingers, and a circle of flames surrounded Lu Xuanji and his 5 Qingyi birds. Up. The 3 of them are all Tier 3 capable persons, and their strength is also Tier 3, dealing with a Tier 1 capable person is as simple as pinching an ant to death. But, who said that Lu Xuanjia is a Tier 1 ability person? You seem to be very confident. Lu Xuanji asked several people with an unclear look on his face under the light of the fire, and a smile on his mouth. Boy, your mental quality is good, but unfortunately, if you offend the Chen family, you will definitely die. Xiao Qin's long and narrow eyes carried a hint of coldness. His ability is invisible and innocuous air. Lu Xuanjia clearly felt that the surrounding air was being drawn away, and a vacuum zone was forming around him at an extremely fast speed. It is worthy of being a capable person of the Chen family, as powerful as the legend. Creation, 200,000 underground rats. Lu Xuanjia muttered silently, raising his hand to shake, and countless small scarlet eyes appeared in the sewer, overlapping. Squeak, squeak. The scalp squeaky squeaks noisily, and countless underground rats attacked Wu Feng and the 3 of them. How is it possible? Are these rat beasts suddenly appearing? Xiao Qin asked in surprise. His ability is not to control beasts. Wu Feng shouted, it's not like controlling the beast, they dare not think about it. Don't panic, it's just a Tier 1 rat beast, just kill it. Zheng Xinyu reminded. After all, a large flame spread toward the underground rat. At the same time, the blue-winged bird beside Lu Xuanji had 2 wings, a hurricane broke the vacuum blockade of Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin is a 3rd tier, and Lu Xuanjia's blue-winged birds are also 3rd tier, and there are 5 in total. Lu Xuanjia didn't have enough energy, so he only had time to extract 1 ability from the blue-winged bird, and his strength could only be regarded as Tier 2. He is not prepared to participate in this battle, just the underground rat and the blue-winged bird are enough. Flying feathers. The 5 blue-winged birds flapped their wings at the same time, and accompanied by the gale towards Wu Feng and the 3 of them, there were countless blue flying feathers, as sharp as a short sword. Wu Feng was caught off guard and hurriedly resisted. Lu Xuanji completely withdrew from the battlefield at this moment, watching Wu Feng and the 3 be besieged by the blue-winged bird and the underground rat. The menacing 3 men were at a loss for themselves at this time. Hey! With a high-pitched bird chirping, a blue-winged bird quickly skipped, and 1 claw broke Wu Feng's arm. Thanks to this as the sewer, the narrow space limits the performance of the blue-winged bird, otherwise it will be besieged by 5 Tier 3 fierce beasts, and the 3 of them will not be able to survive for a moment. Even so, Wu Feng's injury at this time opened the situation to the blue-winged bird, and the underground rat that had been slaughtered finally found a chance and rushed up, gnawing wildly at the 3 of them. Even a Tier 3 master, as long as he is gnawed by an underground rat, he will end up like other ordinary people. Lu Xuanji even had some doubts. The system judged the underground rat by cutting the gold and breaking the jade, and the description was not in place. Judging from the current situation, for the underground rat, there is almost nothing to chew. After just 5 minutes, there were only 3 skeletons left on the spot, which was left by Lu Xuanji deliberately. Who is Lulu? He is destined to work with the mouse in the sewer. Lu Xuanji faced the bloody scene in front of him, unexpectedly calm, kicking the skeleton of the 3 people into the sewer. The Chen family is so powerful, it shouldn't take long to find them, right? The lonely footsteps drifted away in the sewer, and Lu Xuanji returned to the ground with 5 blue-winged birds and 10 money rats. Fusion. After a brief consideration, Lu Xuanji emerged a blue-winged bird and a money rat. Ding. The difference between the 2 different species fusion, this time the probability of success is 65%, and the probability of being upgraded is 1%, are you sure to merge? Yes, Lu Xuanji affirmed. Ding, you are out of luck, the fusion failed. Continue to merge. Ding, you are out of luck. Ding, you are out of luck. Quote. Lu Xuanji was speechless. Don't you beg you to upgrade me? What about the 65% success rate? It was fused 3 times, but never succeeded. Probably, this is the life of a pure non-chief, right? Lu Xuanjia looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle, not letting the doubts in his eyes flow over the ground. One more time, fusion. Lu Xuanjia cared for the blue-winged bird and the money rat who were about to merge, trying to change his life with metaphysical manipulation. Ding. The fusion is successful. You have obtained Tier 4 blue-winged bird. Ding. Your blue-winged bird, Tier 4, has realized a new ability, Claw. The last time, I finally succeeded, but unfortunately it was not upgraded. However, a Tier 4 fierce beast can be as powerful as 10 Tier 3 fierce beasts, no loss. With the Tier 4 blue-winged bird, Lu Xuanji looked at how another Tier 3 blue-winged bird looked unpleasant. Then come 1 billion more times. Lu Xuanjia murmured, continuing, fusion. Ding. You are out of luck, the fusion failed. Sure enough, the life of the non-chief has not changed. Nothing. Lu Xuanji was like a lottery, but he still had some ideas, but it was a pity that there were only 5 blue-winged birds, otherwise it would really be nice to come back 100 million times. The Tier 4 blue-winged bird was a bit huge, and Lu Xuanji let it, like the 200,000 underground rats, move freely within the limits of Xinchan City, waiting to be dispatched at any time. But he looked at the city above the sky in Xinchan City, flapped his wings, and flew towards the city in the sky. It has been 3 years since the replacement of the old and the new and the reversal of the universe. As scientists have studied the previously unknown abilities, many new technology products of abilities have emerged in the society. For example, the sky city above some cities. Just such a reflection-like city completely separates the social classes. Lu Xuanji fell on the land of the sky city, and was lost in the face of the unknown world. But his plan for the future is clear, and he knows exactly what he needs. Spar. Lu Xuanji was walking on the streets of Sky City, and finally stopped in front of a fortress. This is the Xinchan Science and Technology Research Institute, a joint venture founded by the 3 major families in Xinchan City, and a large number of scientists are invited to study supernatural technology in it. When Lu Xuanji was in the city on the ground, he had heard about it a long time ago. Many new technologies broadcast in the news come from here. Taking advantage of the darkness, Lu Xuanji turned the entire fortress around, forming a 3-dimensional map of the Institute's appearance in his mind. He didn't rush into this place. As one of the most core places in Xinchan City, it has the latest high-tech and tight defense. Rumor has it that there are still Tier 6 awakened people sitting in town, and Lu Xuanji's brutality is just a dead end. But he still put his idea here, because there is one of Xinchan City's most refined spar, Burning Heart. This spar provides energy for the entire Sky City, allowing the city to fly in the sky. Lu Xuanji crushed the smoke in his hand, threw it into the trash can, and then walked in the other direction. Chen's Manor is located in the core of the Sky City and covers an area of more than 50 acres. According to the rumors of colleagues chatting, this manor is a combination of Chinese and Western, extremely luxurious, like a miniature version of Old Summer Palace. Speaking of this in the past, I can only follow with a sigh, and it is inhumane. When Lu Xuanjia came outside the manor, he found that a dinner party was still being held here, too. The life of a wealthy family, that is, the song every night, it was so unpretentious and boring. The Xinchan Second Company is only one of the 3 main companies of the Chen family. 1 and 2 are down. The skinny camel is bigger than the horse. As for what Lu Xuanji was here for, he didn't know. Maybe he wanted to see how luxurious his old club could be. Maybe it was the hatred of the rich mentality. Or maybe it was because of Susu's death that he was angry with this old club. At this time, Lu Xuanji's state of mind should be said to be fearless. He doesn't take the initiative to find death, but he is also willing to take risks. As long as it is not 100% to find death, he dares to do it. According to an old saying, the most dangerous place is the safest place. No one would have thought that he would appear here, right? Lu Xuanjia grinned, put his hands in his pockets, followed the guests who came to the banquet, and strode towards the door. His eyes were looking at one of the 3 people in front of him. He had to get an invitation. Just when Lu Xuanji was about to do it, a slender jade hand appeared to be very skillful in holding his arm, little handsome guy, come alone. Why don't you even bring a partner? Lu Xuanji was startled and turned to look. But I saw a woman wearing a black dress with diamonds and black lace long gloves, very elegant, and charming. Lu Xuanji glanced at her waist roughly. The standard model figure, water snake waist, long legs, and the charming peach eyes on Guazi's face added a touch of charm. And the mole under the corner of the eye is a little bit more pitiful. Aren't you alone? Lu Xuanji asked back. The woman's smiling face, her eyes dimmed slightly. A normal man would not be so calm when he saw him, and even threw the problem back to himself. Isn't that all right? Mo Yun slightly pulled up Lu Xuanji's hand. Lu Xuanji fixedly looked at this woman who was so charmingly smiling. He probably inherited a little intuition from Qing Wing Bird and told him that this woman is very strong. And her smile didn't reach the bottom of her eyes, it was just superficial effort. I have no invitation. Lu Xuanji told Mo Yunwei frankly that he was not invited at all. Mo Yun was stunned for a moment, but he couldn't think of it. Did this guy actually come to sit on the table? There are indeed such people, low-powered awakeners, who have just obtained the qualification to come to life in the Sky City. In order to join the big family, they will go around and meet celebrities. Mo Yunwei thought that he had a vicious look, and originally wanted to get a dance partner to help him with the knife, but he didn't expect to see it wrong and pulled him into an idiot. But this actually made Mo Yunwei interested in Lu Xuanji. His temperament and calm expression were completely different from those who came to the table. Go in with this miss, who would dare to ask what invitation you want? Mo Yun smiled and took the opportunity to take Lu Xuanji's arm and walked towards the door. Mo miss. Sure enough, as soon as she came here, the two gatekeepers greeted her respectfully, and they let them in without asking them for an invitation at all. But just after the two left, the two gatekeepers couldn't help but talk. Who is that kid? How come I have never seen it? It looks familiar, and I can't remember which prince it is, but what's the matter with us? You can't climb whoever is with Mo miss, said another janitor. However, he did not expect that the reason why he felt that Lu Xuanji was a little familiar was because he had seen photos of Lu Xuanji from the housekeeper, the most wanted criminal in the Chen family. At this time, Chen Jiayi, who was in charge of this matter, was still in his home, looking through Lu Xuanji's information, waiting for his subordinates to report good news to him. It wasn't just Lu Xuanji's business. To the Chen family, Lu Xuanji was just a small person. What really matters was the huge loss caused by the collapse of the building. As the person in charge of Xinchen's second company, Chen Jiayi must rescue as soon as possible, count the losses, and write a report. Of course, if the head of Lu Xuanjia, the culprit, could be mentioned when reporting the loss, his head would be much safer. Who would have thought that at this time Lu Xuanji had successfully entered the Chen family manor? The banquet tonight was hosted by Chen Xiao, the second son of the Chen family, to celebrate his girlfriend Fang Rushui's post-song title. Fang Rushui. Lu Xuanjia whispered the name softly. He was very familiar and well-known pure goddess, how many dreams of an otaku in the world. Even Lu Xuanji still has her sing for an anime, cause anime character figure. It turned out that it was nothing more than the playthings of these wealthy families. Yunwei is here. Xiaowei, can you dance a dance with me? Hey, we Xiaowei are the most eye-catching existence wherever we are. Lu Xuanji was sighing in his heart. In the banquet hall, when other people saw Mo Yunwei coming, they were actually swarming over. Men, women, countless. Lu Xuanjia couldn't help but glanced at Mo Yunwei. This woman is so popular. That's right, where the big beauties are not welcome. Sorry, I have a partner. Mo Yun squinted and smiled, leaning his head on Lu Xuanjia's shoulder. Lu Xuanjia's mouth twitched, and there really is no free lunch in the world. As Mo Yunwei said these words, Lu Xuanjia felt countless provocations and hostile eyes falling on him. Oh, where did this young man come from? I don't seem to have seen it before. A flat-headed young man in a suit holding a wine, looked at Lu Xuanji and said provocatively. No matter where you are from Shenlong, when you get to me, you have to hold it for me. Miss, are you able to climb that high? The young man's voice became severe. Gao Pan can't make it. I heard that your wine is good, come and drink. Lu Xuanjia calmly took his own arm out of Mo Yunwei's hand and replied. You. Mo Yunwei looked at him incredulously. Have you missed it? Does this guy have no dignity at all? People are so blatantly provoking and robbing their dancing partners, so he can directly admit it. When the others saw this, they were also stunned for a while, and then burst into laughter. I thought it was where Soaring Dragon came from. It turned out to be an embarrassment. Yunwei, in order to dance with you, I just went to learn for half a year, can I appreciate your face? Then, a tall and handsome young man in his 20s ignored Lu Xuanji and invited Mo Yunwei. The rest of the people who came to invite Mo Yunwei were silent when they saw him approaching the invitation, just standing by and watching. Zhao Chengfeng, this is the real Soaring Dragon. The young master of the Zhao family in Shanghai City, I heard that he came specifically for Mo Yunwei. It's a real raptor. Shanghai City is one of the top 10 heavenly cities in the Long Country today, and it is not comparable to a small city like Xinshan City. Mo Yunwei looked at Lu Xuanji, but I already have. It was precisely because he knew that Zhao Chengfeng would be here today, and his identity was destined to make Mo Yunwei unable to refuse, so he deliberately found someone to block the knife. Unexpectedly. In Mo Yunwei's pleading gaze, Lu Xuanji smiled at her and waved his hand. Spoil you. Lu Xuanji didn't mind if he wasn't his girlfriend, who danced with others or not. Before Mo Yunwei could say anything, Lu Xuanji had already withdrawn from the crowd and turned away. Yunwei, you like this kind of counseling package, it makes me very difficult. Zhao Chengfeng narrowed his eyes and threatened. Quote. Mo Yunwei's face changed slightly, but when he turned around, his face was full of smiles. It's just for fun, let's go dance. After saying that, he took the initiative to take Zhao Chengfeng's hand and entered the dance floor. No one noticed that Fang Rushui, the protagonist of today's banquet, who was left out in the cold, was holding a wine glass and looking at Mo Yunwei with hatred. Why, she has already worked so hard to squeeze into the upper class. Her purity and beauty have fascinated so many people, and how many fans have screamed to die for her. But it was obviously at own banquet, but let others be the protagonist. That woman is coquettish and penetrates the bone at the first glance, how can she compare to her beauty and purity? Fang Rushui was indignant, but never thought that some people are fake coquettish, and some are fake pure. In the eyes of those big and young, this is true and false, and you can see through it. Lu Xuanji has no interest in women, of course, he is not gay either. Therefore, at this moment, he seems to be wandering in the banquet hall with a wine glass, but in fact he is secretly attacking those spar decorations. The spar column, the converted energy value is 12W. The table inlaid with crushed spar has a converted energy value of 7,000. The stepped handle made of spar can convert 1.2W of energy. I am not a thief, I am just an energy porter. With the loss of energy in the spar, the originally dazzling spar gradually lost its luster and became dim. However, no one noticed this while indulging in the Sheng, Song and Yan dance at the banquet. Lu Xuanji walked around the entire banquet hall and gradually left the scope of the banquet hall. The garden outside is much quieter. The Chen family's manor is too big, and the gardens are scattered among them. Except for the banquets, other places are quite quiet. Lu Xuanjia was wondering where to get some high-level spar, and suddenly felt a sense of danger on his head. Lu Xuanji was startled, and looked up. Hidden weapons was already near, and a figure fell from the upper floor. I'm going. Lu Xuanjia stretched out his arms subconsciously to catch it, and his whole body sank, and he couldn't help but squat to slow down the momentum. Thanks to the ability of the blue-winged bird, his physical fitness has also been improved to a certain extent. Now he is almost a Tier 3 awakener, otherwise it would be a loss of 2 lives. Hey, do you have a moral heart? How can you throw up pleasure? Lu Xuanjia cursed with his head up, but his voice gradually decreased. Lu Xuanjia frowned and realized that things were not simple. On the top floor of the Western-style castle in front of Chen family manor, a white figure quickly ran away from the edge of the roof. And what he received was obviously not a pleasure, but a person. Ha! There was a tingling gasp in his arms, and Lu Xuanji was so frightened that he loosened his hands and threw the man to the ground. Hiss! The pain of his head knocking on the stone made Mo Yun a little awake. It's you. Take me out of here. Quick! Mo Yun slightly tightened Lu Xuanjia's trousers as he ordered. Lu Xuanjia looked up at the top of the building, then looked down at Mo Yunwei. This guy is really lingering. Hey, What do you want to do? Lu Xuanji lightly kicked Mo Yunwei and asked. Haha, Mo Yunwei's eyes were blurred, and he made a voice that he couldn't hear when he was a minor. Lu Xuanji looked back at the brightly lit banquet hall, and seemed to understand something. It's really unlucky, just take your favor back, Lu Xuanji muttered, picking up Mo Yun and flapping his wings into the night sky. In the early morning of the next day, Mo Yunwei woke up suddenly, sat up from the soft mattress of the hotel, his face was gloomy as if a storm was approaching. To be careless, she really didn't expect that Zhao Chengfeng would dare to do something to herself at the banquet of the Chen family so unscrupulously. Even more unexpectedly, he almost took advantage of the loophole and died in the hands of a mere actor. Then, Mo Yunwei felt his head a little dizzy, jumped out of the bed in shock, and when he looked back, his face changed drastically. The red blood stabbed her eyes. Asshole, it might as well let Zhao Chengfeng take advantage. But it's just to be coerced by the Zhao family, better than that. Reminiscing about what happened at the banquet last night, Mo Yunwei was so angry that she was so embarrassed. She had never seen such a courageous bag. Even an ordinary person dared to argue a few words for her, right? But that counselor gave himself out without saying anything. At this moment, Mo Yunwei really wanted to die. At this time, Lu Xuanji, who had already dived into the library, studied hard, tried to find materials, and drew a speculative internal map of the Xinshan Research Institute, did not know that he was carrying a big pot. Lu Xuanji rubbed his nose, who is talking about me? If you know Mo Yunwei's current situation, he might be wrong. Big sister, don't you know if your aunt is here? Perhaps it is because the Xinshan Research Institute is too important, and there is basically no internal information about it. Lu Xuanjia barely knew where the Burning Heart was stored from a report many years ago. This is the report from the year that the Sky City was established. The news has reported on the Sky City, including the introduction of its flying energy, Burning Heart. When the public library of the Sky City no longer had any useful information, Lu Xuanji returned to the city on the ground. At yesterday's banquet, Lu Xuanji received a total of 1.25 million energy points with the Chen family's decorations inlaid with spars outside. Previously, he spent 1.4 million and only obtained 80,000 energy points. The extravagance of the Chen family can be seen from here alone. With the energy value, Lu Xuanji extracted all the abilities of the blue-winged bird. Extract the blue-winged bird to control the wind. Ding! The extraction is successful, and the energy consumption is 12W. I'm going. The system, are you kidding me? How come it costs 120,000 to drive the wind? The previous flapping of wings was only 50,000. Lu Xuanji couldn't help questioning the system. Does the amount of energy consumed depend on how much I have? Bullshit. The system replied disdainfully, it's impossible to think with your feet. The ability of controlling the wind and shaking the wings of Shili cannot be compared at all. The system explained. The power of the law is first involved in controlling the wind. After extracting this ability, you can easily develop other more detailed abilities from the basic ability of controlling the wind, such as wind blade, storm, wind blast, etc. With the power of other laws, the effect is better. Of course, you don't. After the system explained, it reminded me very kindly. Lu Xuanji's face turned dark, thank you so much. However, it seems that it is not a loss in fact. Forget it, continue with the extraction. Extract the blue-winged bird feather. The extraction was successful, and it cost 35,000 energy values. Extract the blue-winged bird claw. The extraction is successful, and it costs 50,000 energy values. Lu Xuanji now only has one blue-winged bird. The fourth-order blue-winged bird has one more claw blow than the ordinary third-order blue-winged bird. Lu Xuanji also picked it up. After the extraction was completed, Lu Xuanjia raised his hand, and his nails grew out like bird claws, very sharp. Of course, what satisfied Lu Xuanjia most was that the nails could be like wings and put them away when not in use. After Ascension finished his strength, Lu Xuanjia looked towards the direction of the tall buildings in the city on the ground. Jiazhen apartment, where Zhao Yang lives. Such an ordinary apartment is not strictly managed, and there is no one to interrogate, so Lu Xuanji easily got in. In building 502, Lu Xuanji stood in front of the door. Of course he couldn't open the door without the key. However, This matter is actually very simple. Lu Xuanjie let the underground rat enter Zhao Yang's house through the sewer and then opened the door for himself from inside. A small one-bedroom apartment filled with brand new luxury goods, which Zhao Yang just bought recently. Because Lu Xuanjie's girlfriend seduced the company boss's story broke the news, he made a lot of money. Who cares if this is just a story? Zhao Yang was not at home. Lu Xuanjie sat down on the sofa, watching his newly bought luxury goods while waiting for him to return home. At this time, Chen Jiayi of the Sky City also received a call from Governor Luo. Chen Dage, we found 3 skeletons in the sewer. Judging from the accessories found at the same time and the height and shape of the 3 ancient skeletons, it may be the ones you sent to catch Lu Xuanjie yesterday. Master, Governor Luo said hesitantly. Before the test results came out, he couldn't believe this fact. The Wu Feng trio, even though they belonged only to Chen Jiayi's housekeeper, were also masters of the Chen family anyway. Tier 3 masters, in the ground city, already belonged to the existence of walking sideways, and it was impossible for a Tier 1 awakener of the control beast system to kill 3 Tier 3 masters at all. There is only one possibility: Lu Xuanjie is not a first order at all. They were wrong from the beginning. Perhaps it was because Lu Xuanjie felt that a high-rank beast was not needed to destroy a building, so he only drove the first order underground rat. Upon receiving this call, Chen Jiayi frowned and replied to the end of the phone, I see. After hanging up the phone, he began to call Wu Feng and several people. D. The phone you dialed has been turned off, please call again later. D. The phone you dialed has been turned off, please call again later. ... After making 3 phone calls, Chen Jiayi's face turned dark. Isn't it really dead? Wu Feng and the 3 are already the strongest under his hands. Chen Jiayi paced repeatedly, and then went out with the information. Master, this is the whole process of the collapse of the Xinshan Second Company building and our list of lost items. I have tried my best to recover the company's losses. Now the catering and entertainment aspects have resumed normal business. Chen Jiayi still chose report the news to the Chen family patriarch as soon as possible. Without looking at Chen Jiayi, Chen Guizhong took over the information that Chen Jiayi had worked so hard to organize for the night, flipped through it and threw it aside. You said that this time the building collapsed and the database was deleted. It was the one named Lu Xuanjie who did it alone. Chen Guizhong asked Chen Jiayi. Yes. Chen Jiayi quickly lowered his head and replied. It has caused such a great loss to our Chen family. I thought you would come to see me with his head. Chen Guizhong sneered. Chen Jiayi trembled all over, and quickly explained, I have sent Wu Feng and the others to catch Lu Xuanjie, but just got the news that Wu Feng and the others were dead, only a skeleton was left, and they were thrown into the sewer. Quote. What? Is Lu Xuanjie so powerful? Chen Jiayi had already deleted the description of Lu Xuanjie's strength in the information, and Chen Guizhong only asked a little surprised. How could you go to Xinshan Second Company to be a programmer if you are so good? Master, Governor Luo invited me to go down and confirm the identities of the 3 corpses. If it was Wu Feng and the others, I'm afraid. Chen Jiayi paused. Well, go. If he is so powerful, you go call Xiao Wuji and Sheng Wushuang. Chen Guizhong casually ordered. Both of these 2 are well-known masters of the Chen family, a Tier 4 ability person, and a Tier 5 ability person, and the abilities they awaken are all Tier 3 varieties. Yes. Chen Jiayi complied with joy, then turned and went down. In the City Health Bureau, Chen Jiayi took the DNA left by the 3 of Wu Feng and confirmed the identities of the 3 corpses. Finally, he heard from Governor Luo that the people killed by underground rats in the building were dead to the bones. There is no scum left, and these 3 people still have a bone left, which is obviously a deliberate provocation. After receiving the report confirming the identity of Wu Feng's trio, Chen Jiayi hurriedly returned to the Sky City to find Xiao Wuji and Sheng Wushuang. When the 2 were in the old days, they were just street gangsters, but because of the alternation between the old and the new, the 2 awakened their ability to reach Tier 3, and the speed of ascension was very fast. They are now the masters of the Sky City. Serving the Chen family, the 2 can get 10 to 50 million monetary rewards every month, as well as other privileges. The 2 lived next to each other in the villa area in the core area of the Sky City. Chen Jiayi knocked on Xiao Wuji's door first. Master asked you to come. It seems that your people are really rubbish. Xiao Wuji had already received instructions from the Chen family. Seeing that Chen Jiayi had really come, he could not help but sneered and said, his tone was a little smug. The more the Chen family relies on him, the more important his existence is. Of course, salary can also be mentioned a little bit like that. Hearing Xiao Wuji's words, if it were normal, Chen Jiayi would definitely be angry. As a housekeeper, handling many affairs for the Chen family, his usual position in the Chen family is slightly higher than that of a thug like Xiao Wuji. But now relying on the two of Xiao Wuji, Chen Jiayi had to accompany his smiling face and said, they are just third-order abilities, how can they be compared with Brother Xiao? It seems that the opponent is very difficult this time. Give me the information and give his head to you tomorrow. Xiao Wuji was very pleased when he heard such a compliment, but he just gave a cold snort on his face, right. Chen Jiayi stretched out his hand and said, Master meant to let you go with Sheng Wushwang. Chen Jiayi paused and continued. Xiao Wuji's eyes changed and he was a little unhappy, but Sheng Wushwang was a tier 5 capable person, and he was considered a friend with him, so he couldn't offend him. So he said suddenly, oh, what kind of opponent, Brother Lian Sheng should be dispatched. Brother Xiao doesn't often go down and walk around. I'm afraid I don't know. This matter has already made a lot of noise below. The kid deleted the database of Xinchen's second company, destroyed the entire building and ran away. That's why the master was so angry. Chen Jiayi explained. A strange color flashed in Xiao Wuji's eyes, it looks really awesome. Give me the information, I'll find my brother Sheng. Xiao Wuji stretched out his hand. Okay, Chen Jiayi quickly agreed, and handed out Lu Xuanjia's information. For those with tier 5 ability, who is not domineering or grotesque, Chen Jiayi just doesn't want to deal with Sheng Wushwang. After Chen Jiayi left, Xiao Wuji explained this to Sheng Wushwang. According to the description, with his character, he should go home after escaping from the chase of the city guard inspection team. But he didn't. Instead, he killed the 3 of Wu Feng. This information is simply nonsense and unreliable. Sheng Wushwang threw the information aside. The Zhao Yang who broke the news is still alive. Let's find him first. Sheng Wushwang lost the information and stood up. If I were him, I would not go to Zhao Yang at this time. It would be too easy to be ambushed. Moreover, he should know that he is facing a powerful enemy like the Chen family. Xiao Wuji frowned and said, so you are not him. Sheng Wushwang smiled. According to the data, Lu Xuanji had nothing left, and such people could easily become desperados. When Zhao Yang discredited his girlfriend so much in the media on the ground city, Sheng Wushwang did not believe that he was not angry. It is irrational to be an enemy of such desperados, but since it is inevitable, it is better to go to the resource library to get some weapons first. Sheng Wushwang stood up and said. Xiao Wuji was noncommittal, but still followed. Kacha, Jiazan apartment, Lu Xuanjun moved his ears and heard the door opening behind him, so he turned his head and looked over. Zhao Yang. His eyes met, Zhao Yang's hands on the doorknob became stiff, and his expression was a little embarrassed and panicked. After looking at each other for a second, Zhao Yang turned around to escape. However, caught off guard, a strong thrust behind him directly pushed him into the house, and the door fell back instantly. Controlling the wind is worthy of an ability worth 120,000. Compared with other abilities, it can only fly for 10 miles, and the longest distance for a single swing is 10 miles. Feathers can only shoot feather blades in a specified range, and even the range is a fixed size. The ability to control the wind is much more free, just the use of the wind, as long as the brain is big, there is nothing that can't be done in the world. This operation was of course a routine operation for Lu Xuanjia, but for Zhao Yang, it was too weird. Is this the legendary ghost possession? Who on earth brought him in? Lu, brother Lu, listen to me. Zhao Yang retreated and said to Lu Xuanji in a slanderous manner. Let's talk, I'm listening. Lu Xuanji said lightly, playing with Zhao Yang's newly bought Casio watch. Killing him like this would be too cheap for him. Zhao Yang swallowed. I was forced. I belong to the Chen family and threatened me, so I had to confess you. So, you went on TV, accepted interviews, and advertised that Susu seduced Zhou Fugi was forced by the Chen family. Lu Xuanji turned on the TV, and the interview with Zhao Yangmei was shown on the TV. Because of this incident, he has become the man of the day now, and probably the people in the ground city of Xinshan City all know what Zhao Yang looks like. Zhao Yang rushed to the TV and blocked the picture on the TV. Yes, right, or Brother Lu understands me, the Chen family forced me to do this. By the way, they said they want to ambush you here, Brother Lu, you'd better go. Zhao Yang turned his eyes straight and said to Lu Xuanjia. Want to leave? It's late. At this moment, a cold voice came, and Zhao Yang and Lu Xuanji looked out the door in surprise at the same time. I saw the entire door burst open, and an ice cone pierced the door, blocking the entire doorway. The pure elemental ability is in the second tier among the upper third tier abilities. The ice cone melted in an instant, revealing two figures outside the door. Lu Xuanjia glanced at Xiao Wuji and Sheng Wuxuang, then turned to look at Zhao Yang in surprise. Really, this guy is capable of cooperating with the Chen family. Humph, for whatever reason, dare to slander Susu so much in front of the world, he deserves to die. Because of a sudden change, Lu Xuanjia gave up the idea of torturing Zhao Yang, and an invisible wind blade directly resulted in Zhao Yang. Zhao Yang's face still had unexpected joy, and he did not expect that the Chen family would actually appear. He thought his life was safe, but unexpectedly, this just accelerated his own death. Sheng Wuxuang didn't move, just staring at Lu Xuanjia, but Xiao Wuji was a step slower when he was planning to stop it. The giant vine that spread from Xiao Wuji's hands stopped halfway, and was splashed over the entire vine by Zhao Yang's blood. Are you also an elemental ability person? Xiao Wuji frowned and asked. Chen Jiayi's information only stated that Lu Xuanjia was capable of controlling beasts, and didn't even mention the strength of realm. Sure enough, just as Brother Sheng said, that information is not credible at all, even a single punctuation mark can't be believed. Here are two more to die. Lu Xuanjia looked at Xiao Wuji and Sheng Wuxuang coldly, and said coldly. Sheng Wuxuang pulled Xiao Wuji a hand, took out a pistol, and shot Lu Xuanjia directly. Bang! With a muffled sound, Lu Xuanji's wings shook, and he dodged instantly and flew out of the window. But the bullet that flew out of Sheng Wuxuang's gun was an ice bullet. The ice bomb hit the wall, and a layer of frost spread instantly, freezing the entire room. This is the elemental pistol in the ability technology. The power of the elemental ability is amplified by the firearm, and its bullet is an elemental ability, and only the elemental ability can use it. With that shot just now, even if it was a tier 6 capable person, once it was hit, it would be seriously injured. It's a pity that the elemental pistol can't increase the shooting speed of the capable person. Lu Xuanji has the ability to flap his wings for 10 miles. Not only can he fly, but the speed at short distances is absolutely outstanding among the third-order capable persons. Alien ability. Xiao Wuji was startled, blurted out, reached out a vine, grabbed Lu Xuanjia's ankle, and flew out afterwards. Upon seeing this, Sheng Wuxuang took out the energy stimulator and turned his back, and the ice crystal wings were immediately displayed from his back. Elemental wings could only be done by a tier 6 ability person, but the ability technology can also help him do it in advance. Lu Xuanji flew in front, and Sheng Wuxuang and the two rushed wildly behind them. More vines flew in the air, instantly entwining Lu Xuanji firmly. Bang! With a muffled sound, Lu Xuanji was entangled with countless vines into a wooden ball, and fell towards the ground. Just when Xiao Wuji and the two looked happy and took out the Vajra cage to trap Lu Xuanji with the wooden ball, a bird song came. I saw a huge blue-winged bird flying from the sky, grabbing a wooden ball, flapping its wings, and fleeing away. Vajra's cage fell to the ground, from a small ball into a golden birdcage-like cage as tall as a person. The expensive Vajra cage was so in vain. Unfortunately, the two of Xiao Wuji had no chance to reclaim them now, they could only continue to chase Lu Xuanjia. Slot. This guy is a man of multiple abilities, I don't know how many abilities he has. Xiao Wuji couldn't help cursing violently. It's no wonder that asking them to go out is really nothing wrong. After the new day, the awakened people have awakened abilities, but generally they can only awaken one ability, and awaken two. They are already one of the strongest among the awakened, not to mention what Lu Xuanji has shown now, there are already 3 items. Wind element, shaped wings, control beast ability. He should be tier 4, and people with multiple abilities can often kill the enemy by more than one step, which is difficult to deal with. Seeing the blue-winged bird, Sheng Wuxuang said in a deep voice. The blue wing bird is tier 4, so Lu Xuanji, who can control the blue wing bird, is also at least tier 4 beast control ability. Sheng Wushuang didn't know where he took out a rocket and shot it at Lu Xuanji. I'm going. What about those with good abilities? Isn't this an arms dealer? Lu Xuanji just freed himself from the wooden ball, and couldn't help but complain. Boom! With a muffled sound, a roaring ice dragon was picked up from the rocket and whizzed towards Lu Xuanjia. Lu Xuanjia flapped his wings and landed on the ground. Numerous underground rats gushed out from the sewer. The ice dragon chased Lu Xuanjia close to the ground, and in an instant he was cut off by the underground rat. On the bustling street, a sudden change caused the civilians in the city on the ground to flee in all directions screaming. Lu Xuanjia ran on the ground and turned into an alley, where more underground rats were still emerging from the sewer. At the beginning, there were more than 100,000 people who escaped from the second company building, plus yesterday's more than 100,000, and Lu Xuanji can now summon about 300,000 underground rats. Although it was only a tier 1 fierce beast, relying on the large number, it could still delay Lu Xuanjia a little time. Lu Xuanji and tier 4 blue wing bird cooperated with each other, and constantly fled under the chase of Xiao Wuji and the two. It's just that Lu Xuanji's strength at this time is actually as if tier 3 was approaching tier 4, barely dealing with Xiao Wuji, but he didn't have the ability to counterattack at all. The three people chased and fled, and their powerful destructive power caused emergency alarms to sound in the cities on the ground. Countless citizens stayed at home and watched their chase. As the day gets late, night falls. Finally, in a small alley, Lu Xuanji stopped. At this time, 300,000 underground rats, less than 50,000 left, tier 4 blue wing bird, died in battle. Why don't you run away? Xiao Wuji joked after the two chasing. While speaking, Sheng Wushuang threw out an energy bead, and a transparent hood enchantment formed instantly, trapping the three of them. Because it's 12 o'clock, Lu Xuanjia turned his back to the two of them, looking at the moon in the sky very pretentiously, and said lightly. This means that he can sign in again, and can create underground rats and blue-winged birds. According to the worst-case scenario, signing in to a useless new species, he can also create 5 third-order blue-winged birds and 200,000 underground rats. Not to mention anti-killing. They want to escape, but they still can't stop them living. What's more, as a desperado, why don't you dare to fight for it? Sign in. Lu Xuanji yelled in his heart. Ding. Signed in successfully. Congratulations, you have opened the Tier 5 Heart Ape Illustrated Book. Ding. Congratulations, you have received the Illustrated Book reward, the only legendary creature, Sun Wukong drawing. Heart Ape 5th Tier Rare. Heart Ape is a kind of fire, hidden in the heart, and controlled by good emotions. It is a rare spirit beast in the world. Abilities: Heart Fire, Heart Hiding, Emotional Control, Monkey Boxing, Ape Golden Body. Daily Creation Limit: 3. Can be upgraded, can be advanced, can be integrated, can be demonized. Demonization needs: 10 kinds of apes and monkeys. Sun Wukong Synthesis Drawing. Use Heart Ape, God Iron Rod, Origin Stone, Samadhi Real Fire, and Real Cloud to synthesize the only legendary creature Sun Wukong. Lu Xuanjia glanced at the blueprint, and was so thundered in an instant. I go and synthesize Sun Wukong. System: give me an explanation, can Sun Wukong also synthesize it? Why not? Host: you are still too young. The system replied calmly. If you promise to get me an entity and find me a girlfriend, I can remove the only restriction for you. Quote. Lu Xuanjia was messy in the wind, and the only restriction could be removed. Think about waving a hand and coming out a row of Sun Wukong. Lu Xuanji feels I can do it again, I can do it again. MD. Isn't it an entity? Isn't it a girlfriend? System: you wait for me. 12 o'clock. What happened at 12 o'clock? At the other end of the street, Xiao Wuji didn't know what Lu Xuanji said, so he jokes. Can you turn over at 12 o'clock? Let's give up resistance. Your tier 4 birds and beasts have been killed in battle. I think your strength is only about tier 3, right? Do you still want to fight against Brother Sheng by the 2nd level? Xiao Wuji persuaded. Lu Xuanjia had too many abilities, which really caused them a headache. Chapter 11. Have you never heard of a legend? At 12 o'clock at the full moon, werewolves haunt. Lu Xuanji joked. There are no werewolves, there is one ruthless man a bit less than a werewolf. Stop talking nonsense, thousands of miles are frozen. Sheng Wuhuang said indifferently. After all, endless frost came, and the hard concrete floor was covered with a layer of hoarfrost, which quickly turned into a thick layer of ice. Only frozen is temporarily the most powerful method of Sheng Wuhuang. The entire ice seal is completed and can reach absolute zero. In the frozen realm, Sheng Wuhuang's ice system ability has been enhanced by 20%. Of course, there are restrictions. The reason why it was useless before was because the frozen realm was completely released, and it took at least 5 seconds to form, and the range was not 10,000 miles, about 2 miles in radius. Unless the battle range is determined and then used, it is easy for people to escape in a pursuit battle like the one just now. As the chill eroded, Lu Xuanji shivered all over. Worthy of being a Tier 5 capable person, he is indeed not Sheng Wuhuang's opponent. However, it takes less than 5 seconds to create a species. Creation, Hard Apes, 3. Lu Xuanjia instantly created 3 hard apes. However, when the creation was completed, Lu Xuanjia did not see the figure of the hard ape. I was wondering, I just heard a hiss, like a piece of rags being torn apart. A little monkey tore Sheng Wuhuang's chest and jumped out. The same as the 5th order, the hard ape is fire, and Tiansheng is unparalleled. In addition, the hard ape is not an ordinary ape, and the real hard ape is born from the heart of man. Even though Sheng Wuhuang is a person with the ice element ability, his heart is also a fire, and the hard ape is simply born in his inner emotions and bursts out of his chest. Brother Sheng. Sudden changes made Xiao Wuji pale in shock. They were fully prepared, and Sheng Wuhuang brought a full set of defensive equipment. However, facing the weird hard ape, there was no resistance. When Xiao Wuji was flustered, he was also taken advantage of by the hard ape to enter. Ah! Xiao Wuji yelled, clutching his chest. The heart seemed to be suddenly not his own, beating madly, as if it was about to pop out of his chest. What is this ability? Xiao Wuji asked Lu Xuanjia with a painful expression on his chest. He is only a Tier 4 capable person. Under the Tier 5 hard ape, he has no resistance at all. The reason why he can hold on for so long is because the 2 hard apes are fighting for the control of his emotions at the same time. I don't know, I only know, you are going to die. Lu Xuanji replied indifferently. I am only responsible for creating the hard ape, how to kill you is their business. Tear, the same irritating sound of rags tearing, 2 hard apes burst out of their chests, jumping to Lu Xuanjia's face. Father, am I good? Obviously I am great. I'm great. I'm great. At the same time, 2 hard apes born from Xiao Wuji's heart came to Lu Xuanjia and quarreled. The 2 hard apes are exactly like little monkeys. They are not too big. They only have calves taller than a human head. The fiery red hair on their bodies dances like flames when they are blown by the wind. Okay, obviously the best, Lu Xuanjia said with a slight tick at the corner of his mouth. Who is it obviously? The 3 hard apes asked in unison. Lu Xuanji smiled faintly. Whoever said he was obviously just now, come forward. The 3 hard apes stood dumbly on the spot, thinking about what they had just said. Did they say that they were Mingming? Lu Xuanjia sighed secretly in his heart. It seemed that the higher the rank, the smarter and more agile the species. Tier 5 hard apes can speak, although it may be because they are hard apes, but it also suggests that Lu Xuanjia, perhaps a higher rank species, is no different from humans in terms of intelligence. Looking at these 3 clever and smart little monkeys, Lu Xuanji couldn't bear it. He merged them like the blue-winged birds and underground rats before, to get an advanced species. Lu Xuanji touched the head of a hard ape, temporarily giving up the idea of fusion. The Sun Wukong drawings just now gave him some inspiration. Perhaps, in terms of fusion, fusion cannot be done randomly. Will the fusion of certain species have a higher success rate? The 3 hard apes are all Tier 5, with their current non-chief strength, the integration is not cost-effective, so let's keep it. Creation, blue-winged birds, 5. Creation, underground rat, 200,000. Lu Xuanjia then used up all the quota today, and let them disperse and move around freely. Extract, the ability of heart and soul. Ding, successful extraction, energy consumption worth 200,000. The system prompt sounded, and the corner of Lu Xuanji's mouth twitched, which was too expensive. System, give me an explanation. Why is it more expensive to control the wind than to control the wind? You don't mean that the control of the wind is the force of the law, so is it expensive? Lu Xuanji asked the system. First, controlling the wind comes from the fourth-order blue-winged bird, and the heart fire comes from the fifth-order heart ape. In terms of initial strength, the heart fire is stronger than controlling the wind. Secondly, controlling the wind is the application of the power of the elementary law, and mind fire is the application of the power of the advanced law. It is more than a little bit stronger than controlling the wind. Host, you have earned it, and have fun. The system explained. Quote. Lu Xuanji looked weird, as if it made sense, but in his heart, why was it so awkward? You won't lie to me. Isn't the power of law a very coaxing thing? How can a random species be able to extract the ability to use the power of law? Lu Xuanjia said suspiciously. The system replied with a somewhat helpless voice, it's my fault that it's too awesome. There are 3,000 laws of power in the world. In fact, this is an imaginary number, and the power of laws is far more than 3,000. Let's say that those who are separated from the law of wind, there are also the law of breeze, the law of violent wind, the law of gusts, etc. What's more, it's just the primary application of the power of the law. Many species are born with it. Including human beings, they are born with the primary application of the laws of innateness and wisdom, so they are born with Taoism, and as they grow older, they automatically open up their wisdom. Other species need to make great efforts if they want to have Tao bodies and to open up their wisdom. Similarly, if humans want to have the power of laws inherited by other species, they also need to make great efforts, so it has become so difficult and so high to use the power of laws. Furthermore, you may have mistaken the difference between the power of applying the law and the power of controlling the law. What you think is so awesome, I am afraid that you need the power of controlling the law. The system then explained. Of course, the most important thing is the system Dage, which is awesome. As a system that can create countless species, it is easy to extract the power of the law. The system proudly said. Lu Xuanjia nodded thoughtfully. It seemed that he had a misunderstanding of the power of the law. As for the system boasting that it is awesome, Lu Xuanji directly ignored it. Lu Xuanjia ignored the self-satisfaction system and continued to extract the remaining abilities of the heart ape. Heart storage, emotional control, monkey boxing, and monkey boxing. Among them, only the monkey boxing is worth 50,000 yuan, and the other values are more than 200,000 yuan. In this way, after extracting the 5 abilities of heart ape, Lu Xuanji became poor again and had no energy value. If you want to do something big, Lu Xuanji looked at the city in the sky above his head. Later, Lu Xuanji returned home. Of course, Lu Xuanjia's home is in the city on the ground. A 2-bedroom apartment less than 50 square meters was rented together by him and Susu. He worked hard to make money day and night, but it was just to be able to own one in this city. Belongs to the owner's family. However, for Lu Xuanji now, buying a house is very simple. Opening the Money Rat illustrated book rewarded him with 100 million yuan, but he never had the idea of buying a house anymore. It can be seen that his house has been visited by more than one outsider. Fortunately, some unimportant things were not taken away. Lu Xuanji knocked down a photo frame placed on the bedside and took away, with a photo embedded in it, of his deceased parents and 2 Lu Xuanji. Yes, 2 Lu Xuanji. Lu Xuanjia actually has a twin brother, but he lost his life when he was a child. There is also a treasure box taken out from under the bed. There are marbles and cards from my childhood, which are full of memories. Lu Xuanji found a backpack, put these things away, turned around and left here. Fucheng Internet Cafe. Lu Xuanji opened a small room and turned on the computer. I remember helping a friend before, building a firewall for a small website, and earning 20,000 yuan in extra money. And this small website is just an internal website for the awakeners to communicate. Some awakened persons engaged in illegal activities. In fact, it cannot be said to be illegal, because after the new day, the so-called laws are just formulated by the powerful forces that control each city. These so-called illegals are just small groups of non-mainstream forces among the awakened. Because he was unwilling to serve those big forces, he began to look for the unhappiness of those big forces. Lu Xuanji felt that he might need some teammates. Entering the website, Lu Xuanji found the firewall loopholes, obtained administrator rights, and directly registered an account for himself from the background. All required information is confidential. The entire account, only one ID Beastmaster is publicly displayed, other than that, no one can see any of his information. After logging into the account, Lu Xuanji entered the homepage of the website again. The website is simply divided into 3 sections. The middle section is the current affairs news of the world of Awakeners. Lu Xuanjia glanced around casually. What Yunjian city is hosting the Awakened Summit, and what Shaoanshan's first Awakened School was officially established under the auspices of the Death God. The panel on the left is the current affairs news in Xinchen City. It is a great honor that Lu Xuanji also occupied a small space in it. The photo used as the cover picture of the news is provided by the City Health Inspection Office. Lu Xuanji's ID photo when he was working. Looks dull, very honestly stunned. Seeing this photo, Lu Xuanjia had a lot of tastes and Chen's awe. This was taken when he entered the second company of Xinchen, that is, on that day, he and Susu entered the dream, big company, with hopes for the future. Quote. Now, in a blink of an eye, 5 or 6 years have passed. In the past 5 or 6 years, how many major events have happened can be said to be the vicissitudes of life. But now, I am alone. On the right panel, there are some tasks posted by someone, scrolling. The Awakeners who accept these tasks and earn commissions for the tasks can be said to be freelancers in this era. Lu Xuanji quickly found some mission madmen from the celebrity list on the website, some of them were teams and some were individuals. But there is no doubt that their strength is very strong. Lu Xuanji established an encrypted chat room and sent invitation messages to everyone on the task list. Hey, who is the boss, is the task of 100 million real. Oh, Zayat, how come so many people divided into 100 million, slipped away? Let me go. Why can't I log out? The close button of this chat room is out of order. It's not equal to 100 million, but 100 million for each person. Lu Xuanjia explained. Are you the boss? The crowd was quiet a little, and asked Lu Xuanjia. The people in this chat room are all acquaintances, only this, Beastmaster, ID is very strange. Yes, Lu Xuanji replied. Generally speaking, a deposit is required to release a task, but Lu Xuanji has directly obtained the manager's authority. You can just blow the task rewards or whatever. Besides, it is not a dream for one person to get 100 million to destroy the Sky City. The boss is magnificent. I don't know what the task is, can you reveal 1 or 2? GN12 asked. Of course, I will tell you the detailed task steps, but before that, I hope you can sign this non-disclosure agreement. Lu Xuanji released a document to everyone through the chat room. This is a non-disclosure agreement document template directly applied by Lu Xuanji on the internet. In fact, there is no measure to guarantee its binding force. After all, this kind of confidentiality agreement cannot always be notarized by a lawyer. Lu Xuanji is not why, just to make all this look more serious and formal, and to give them some awe. Everyone looked at the agreement in front of them, feeling a little heavy, and began to pick up their mobile phones to communicate privately with other invited people. 5 minutes later, now 21 people have signed the agreement, and there are 4 others, don't you want to sign it? Lu Xuanji asked in the chat room. Sorry, we don't want to take this mission. After a short pause, several people answered one after another. Intuition tells them that this task is not easy and dangerous. Compared with money, they still love life more. Okay, Lu Xuanjia replied concisely, kicking several people out of the chat room. However, for some reason, Lu Xuanji had a lingering anger in his heart. With his eyes closed, several different pictures flashed through his mind, like pictures of different people sitting in front of the computer. System, what's going on? Lu Xuanji asked the system irritably. The system was silent for 2 seconds and explained, this is the ability to hide in the heart and control emotions. As long as you are connected to people who have caused the emotions of the other party, you can hide in the other party's heart with the heart ape body, and you can control their emotions. Of course, this kind of emotional control can only make them more and more angry, irritable, sad, grief and other strong negative emotions, and can't make the other party more calm. The system explained the abilities of the 2 heart apes that Lu Xuanji had just extracted, but did not tell Lu Xuanji that the reason why he was angry has nothing to do with outsiders, simply because he has become irritable after experiencing these things. narrow-minded. Because those guys refused his invitation to the mission, he was angry, nothing more. Just when he explained these to Lu Xuanjia systematically, Lu Xuanjia had already learned how to use these abilities by himself. Sitting in the private room of the internet cafe, Lu Xuanji closed his eyes and concentrated, and his soul seemed to have appeared in another place. This is a blood-red world, and it looks like a sea of fire, and countless violent, grief, emotions, like groups of ghost bodies, are running around here. Lu Xuanjia looked at one of the spirit bodies that flew past, and that spirit body instantly exploded several times. Ah! Lu Xuanjia heard a scream when his ears moved. In a high-end apartment, Wang Qian, who had just exited from Lu Xuanjia's chat room, covered his chest with a pained expression on his face. The veins on his forehead and neck were violent, and a tyrannical mood swelled and spread in his heart. Bang! Wang Qian overturned the table in front of him. After a brief panic, he quickly thought of the chat room just now. All this is too coincidental. Wang Qian panted heavily and tried to use his own ability to resist this unusual tyrannical mood. The capable person must be the capable person invading. However, he had never heard of when an emotional control ability came to Xinchen City. Emotional control, indeed has this ability, is ranked first in the third rank, and is squeezed into the ability list, ranking 13. According to statistics, there are fewer than 200 emotional abilities in the world. In less than 10 seconds, this Tier 5 ability person died so easily. At the same time, the same bridges were staged in 3 other places in Xinchen City. Ignoring the space distance, it is indeed a good ability, but all this is too unreal. Lu Xuanjia opened his eyes in the internet cafe's private room, looked at his own hands, and muttered. It's like someone who didn't kill himself. Lu Xuanji came back to his senses and looked at the computer screen. Now he has no psychological barriers to killing. The world can kill me, why can't I kill the world? Boss, are you still there? Someone asked because Lu Xuanji hadn't spoken for a long time. Sorry, I just poured a glass of water, let's talk about this mission. Lu Xuanji replied. With this ability, Lu Xuanji can say that he is not afraid of them leaking out. The task this time is very simple. Our goal is to stop the fire in the Sky City in Xinchen City. Lu Xuanji typed calmly. It was such a short sentence that made the entire chat room dumbfounded and silent. Boss, are you kidding me? Boss, are you crazy? How can it be possible to let the city of the sky stop by us? After a while, the chat room became lively again, but everyone was saying that it was impossible. There is nothing impossible. The reason why the Sky City can fly in the sky is because of the top-grade spar in the Xinchen Research Institute, the Burning Heart. I think you all know this. Lu Xuanji continued. As long as you take away the Burning Heart and destroy the backup energy, the Sky City will be destroyed in an instant. Lu Xuanji sneered. Everyone was silent. It was as simple as putting an elephant in the refrigerator in a few steps. The first step is to open the refrigerator door. The second step is to put the elephant in. The third step is to close the refrigerator door. But the problem is that it's so simple to say, there is no way to achieve it. Boss, is it too late to quit now? Don't worry, I will definitely keep it secret. Someone asked. In their opinion, this boss is completely crazy, right? Of course, I don't force anyone. Lu Xuanji paused and replied. However, the heart ape is about to move. At this moment, the awakener who offered to give up suddenly received a call from a website administrator. Hey, GU, there has just been some anomaly on the website. Someone has hacked into the website. The people on your list should now be drawn into an encrypted chat room, and we are trying to crack it. I just got the news. Wenshin, Feng Xiaoxiao and other people who have just been kicked out of the chat room have now been killed and died in a weird state. You have to be more careful. Is there any chat room news you can provide? GU didn't speak, and he was frightened. Wenshin, it was Wang Qian's ID on the website. It was only a few minutes before they were dead. As a Tier 5 awakened person, GU has always been very brave, even a little unruly, but at this moment, he feels that his spine is cold, and a fear is enveloped in his heart. He didn't return the call, but quickly grabbed the keyboard and typed in the chat room, haha. It's not me who didn't participate in such an exciting action. I just made a joke, I hope the boss doesn't mind. Looking at Agu's words, Lu Xuanjia felt a little unnatural inexplicably, but he didn't go into it. So, did anyone not attend? Lu Xuanji asked. At this time, some people who are familiar with a GU have already received calls from a GU, and even some unfamiliar people have received calls from the webmaster. Unprecedented tension rose in their hearts, and there is no doubt that they are participating in a dangerous event. It seems that everyone is very interested in my task. Next, I will describe the specific steps. Lu Xuanji continued. The task time is set at 10 o'clock in the morning 3 days later. Boss, may I ask, why is it set at 10 o'clock? In fact, at 3 or 4 in the morning, it is the most sleepy time of the day, which may be beneficial to us. A little Spark asked. Even though his name is very casual, even a little cute, Spark is the third boss on the task list. Spark's awakened two abilities, the control of the fire element and the power of mind, both of which were third-tier abilities. Compared to others, he was more or less scared by this weird Beastmaster, and Spark quickly recovered his calm. He is more curious about Lu Xuanji, and wants to analyze how this mysterious Beast King is through more questions and answers and contacts. I like the sunrise at my birth, do you have any questions? Lu Xuanji replied. Quote. The middleman was silent for a while. What the hell is this answer? Too willful, right? There is no problem. Sparkling raised his hand, hesitated again, and typed. He could vaguely perceive that if there is any problem, this guy should be angry. Very good. I believe you know the 3 major families of Xinshan City better than I do. If you have any questions, you can add. The current plan is to divide you into 4 teams, 3 of which will go to the 3 major families to intercept their support. The main offense team is of course responsible for attacking the Xinshan City Research Institute. It needs a very good talent in science and technology. Maybe you will have a good recommendation. This is actually not a problem. It's just that, whether it's the 3 major families or the Xinshan Research Institute, there are tier 6 abilities who are in charge. We may not be able to support it for long. If we are defeated by everyone, the whole army will be wiped out. Bing Tier's little princess reminded. She thought that she had taken it for granted, even the screen ID was full of Marie Sue style, but she didn't expect to meet a more whimsical lunatic. Of course they alone cannot pose a threat to the Sky City, otherwise the 3 major families in power would not be in power now. Lu Xuanjia obviously also knew this, so he decided to attack again after 3 days. During these 3 days, he could sign in several times to ascension his strength. I will send someone to help you. The 6th Order Awakeners are not the biggest threat. On the contrary, if they really only have the 6th Order Awakeners, they should be lucky. Lu Xuanji continued. Lu Xuanji spent the whole morning deciding on the details with the mission fanatics, then quit the website and ordered a takeaway. The takeaway boy brought in Lu Xuanjia's lunch, and left without saying a word. Lu Xuanjia felt that something was wrong with this kid, so he followed up with his body and took a look, and found that he had just walked out of the internet cafe, so he called Chengwei Inspector. Lu Xuanji sighed, looked at the lunch in front of him, opened it to eat. In less than 10 minutes, the alarm bell rang outside, apparently from the city guard inspector team. At the same time, there may be Chen family awakened masters. But at this time, Lu Xuanjia, who already had tier 5 strength, didn't panic at all. As long as all the masters of the Chen family weren't besieging him at the same time, he didn't panic at all. With the ability to fly, his ability to escape is superb, not to mention that he has more than just the ability to fly. You have been surrounded by us, give up resistance, come out now. Governor Luo shouted with a loudspeaker. The abilities under his staff quickly deployed control and installed many ability suppressors around the internet cafe. The magnetic field formed by these ability suppressors can reduce the power of the capable person in the magnetic field. It's just that they were wrong from the beginning. Lu Xuanjia is not a capable person, he is a creator. What does the suppressing ability have to do with my creator? Lu Xuanjia lifted his backpack, put it on one shoulder, opened the private room of the internet cafe and walked out. The lobby of the internet cafe used to have a lot of people surfing the internet, but now, it has undoubtedly been emptied. Papa, as Lu Xuanji walked towards the door of the internet cafe step by step, the members of the city guard surrounded the door and stepped back. The strength of the ground city guards is just 1 and 2 ranks, and it is more than enough to manage ordinary people, but they are often cannon fodder in the face of the Masters of the Awakening. The scene was a bit funny at one time, crowded, and the fully equipped city guard brigade retreated steadily. On the other side, there was just a young man in a plaid shirt and thin body, carrying a black backpack, walking out leisurely. In the face of the numerous city guards, there was no trace of fear on his face, but a look of indifference and world-weariness in his eyes, as if there was nothing in the world worthy of his fear. "You are really annoying," Lu Xuanji said. Everyone was on the verge of an enemy. "I don't know for what purpose you mixed up as a small employee in the second company, but since you provoke the Chen family, you must be conscious of death." Among the many retreating city guards, a young man stepped forward instead. Following him, 6 more people walked out of the queue of the city guard, blocking Lu Xuanji's path. 5 men and 2 women, dressed in personalities, are of different ages. Some are estimated to be less than 20 years old, and some are middle-aged uncles in their 40s or 50s. The strength of several people is not low. They are all Tier 4 and Tier 5 capable people. In this city, in this world, there is nothing to restrain them except for a big family like the Chen family. More or less, they all showed some wanton arrogance, which was precipitated by long-term freewheeling. A capable person of the Chen family. It is indeed rich and powerful. After the death of 5 people, how much did the Chen family give out and let you kill him? Lu Xuanjia glanced lightly and asked. A rustling sound gradually rang. "Don't talk nonsense with him, he is a super controller." Hearing this voice, one of the women's face changed drastically and shouted. The so-called super powerful beast control means that on the basis of the beast control the ability has been further evolved and can control a large number of beasts. Lu Xuanji doesn't care what name they give him, he has only one belief in his heart: whoever blocks me will die. Wow! Almost the moment the woman yelled these words, countless underground rats gushed out from the sewer or even under the floor, and 5 blue-winged birds also whizzed from the sky. What? After several screams, the battle had just begun, and the opponent's 7 capable masters, 3 died. Heart Ape's Tier 5 rare is not for nothing. Even if it is a Tier 5 capable person, without targeted defense, it will almost be killed in seconds. Gunshots continued, and countless powerful paralyzing bullets aimed at those with abilities attacked Lu Xuanjia, and there was a rain of bullets in front of the internet cafe. And Lu Xuanji didn't even need to act on his own. He was still walking in a leisurely manner, with his own underground rat flying around to block bullets for him. "Don't mess with me, you will die." Lu Xuanji silently glanced at the panicked city guard, and said lightly. Having said that, he turned around and walked towards a path opened by the underground rat. Several capable masters of the Chen family wanted to chase them, but were stopped by Heart Ape and Blue-Winged Bird. Lu Xuanji turned around and walked into an alley, lit a cigarette, and prepared to calm down. A week ago, if he was killed, he would not have thought that there would be today. Speaking of it, at that time, if you had a dream of this kind of scene, you would think it was ridiculous, right? He hadn't been able to awaken his ability in the new day. If he could have the ability like today, he didn't know how excited he would be. However, now that I really have all of this, it is dull. Just as Lu Xuanji sighed, the wall behind him suddenly stretched out 2 hands, hugged him, and dragged him into the wall. Lu Xuanji was taken aback, careless. He immediately used flying feathers to try to cut the package, but was trapped by Xiao Wuji's wooden ball at the beginning. He cut with flying feathers, and the sharpness is worthy of trust. However, using Feiyu this time, it was like a muddy sea, and no waves were photographed. The thing that trapped him was not like flesh, but like silt, and Feiyu was all trapped in it. The surrounding space is dark, not pure black, but earthy brown, as if walking through something. Feiyu was ineffective, and Lu Xuanjia tried to attack the opponent's heart with his Heart Ape body, but the unfavorable Heart Ape body actually lost this time. The other's heart is as firm as a rock. "Don't waste your efforts, I am a Tier 6 ability person." The cold and arrogant voice of the other party entered Lu Xuanjia's ears, and Lu Xuanjia frowned. "Is there such a big gap at only Tier 6? And me, you can't escape from our hands." Another voice rang, but it was the voice of a woman smiling. "Is it 2 people?" Lu Xuanji was even more confused. However, when he was taken away, 2 abilities did appear. The two Tier 6 abilities were all sent out to arrest him. Is this the Chen family afraid? Under normal circumstances, these sixth-order abilities are treasures of the major families, the kind that needs to be provided. Even the patriarch of the major families, it is impossible to say that they will be arbitrarily let them complete the task. Generally speaking, they are asked to guard a place, and only under special circumstances will they be given tasks and receive wages on a regular basis. Of course, this is for the sixth-order scattered powers invited by the major families. The three big families can sit where they are now. In addition to having money before the new day, their own family members also have one or two Tier 6 powerhouses so that they can live in the place. Just as Lu Xuanjia's thoughts drifted away, a dazzling light appeared, and he returned to the normal ground. By two sixth-order capable persons, he fell to the ground severely. Lu Xuanjia tried to get up, and his limbs were firmly glued to the ground by a mass of moving mud. Lu Xuanjia frowned and tried to raise his head, only to see a high-heeled sandal with crystal diamonds stepping on the ground not far ahead, revealing his white and tender toes with red nail polish. Woman. Lu Xuanji's eyes twitched, and things seemed a little different from what he thought. He thought he belonged to the Chen family, but even if the Chen family didn't kill him, he should take him to see the power of the Chen family or something. How could you bring yourself to meet a woman? At least, Lu Xuanji hadn't heard of any woman in his old club that was in power. The patriarch of the Chen family gave birth to 3 sons and a daughter. The youngest daughter was the jewel in his palm, very domineering. Lu Xuanji saw her visit the company with his own eyes, because a female employee accidentally wore pirated clothing similar to hers and was beaten to death by her. It's a pity that the law after the new day is only a rule between ordinary people. As one of the 3 families of the awakened, the Chen family owns 1/3 of the control of the entire city. There is no difference between dying a cat or a dog, and you will not be punished at all. The little princess of the Chen family is very domineering, but she is not in power. She does not participate in the decision-making affairs of the Chen family. Council, do you remember me? A disgusting and arrogant voice rang, interrupting Lu Xuanjia's thoughts. Lu Xuanjia thought about it for 2 seconds. It turned out to be you. I knew you would avenge revenge, so I wouldn't save you. Lu Xuanjia tried to look up at Mo Yunwei, but was held down by the Tier 6 ability person again. Lu Xuanji was a little angry, his eyes darkened a bit, he suppressed the anger in his heart, and asked, "What do you mean?" Crack, crack, Lu Xuanjia heard the sound of bones. Mo Yunwei sat on the chair, pressed her fingers, and trembled all over. When she thought of the day, she couldn't restrain her anger. Although she later found out that she had come to her aunt, she still wondered if anything happened that night. Even now, when she closes her eyes, she can still remember the imprint clearly. She is even entangled in its shape and what it looks like. Among them, the most intolerable thing for her is probably not being deprived, but being deprived of a boneless council. HMPH. N revenge, you save me once, and I will save you once. We are both cleaned up. Now tell me, what happened that night? Mo Yun got up slightly and walked towards Lu Xuanji, stepping on his back with one foot. Almost at the same time, Qing Yu flew down, and Lu Xuanji fluttered a pair of wings behind his back, stretched out his hand to pat the ground, and stood up. At this time, Lu Xuanji was exposed to a faint golden light, and his whole body seemed to be much more vigorous. The golden body of the ape is also the ability of the 5th-order heart ape. Tier 5's ability is indeed not enough to fight 2 Tier 6 powerhouses, however, in any case, he cannot tolerate that a woman stepped on On's head. I beg you to make it clear, the Chen family can't pose a threat to me at all, so you can save me. Lu Xuanji raised his hand and held Mo Yunwei's neck, and said coldly. Mo Yun was slightly startled, then turned into a black smoke and instantly escaped from Lu Xuanjia's control. The other 2 Tier 6 abilities in the room also reacted, and immediately wanted to control Lu Xuanji again, but they were stopped by Mo Yunwei raising his hand. I didn't expect that you turned out to be a dual ability person. Mo Yunwei glanced at Lu Xuanji in surprise and said. Moreover, judging from the explosive power just now, he is not weak at all. Humph, Lu Xuanjia snorted coldly without answering. Do I have 17 or 8 abilities to tell you? Will I still have thousands of abilities to tell you in the future? Although it only has the ability of the middle and lower 3rd tiers, it is not bad. Hearing Mo Yunwei continued, he nodded slightly. Compared to what was previously wishful thinking, Lu Xuanji is simply the world's largest counselor. As for his ability, he naturally considered it a waste. Now it seems that there are still 2 good abilities, and the strength is not low, which comforts a lot inexplicably. What kind of status are you? You can drive 2 tier 6 abilities, and Miss Chen's family seems to have no such right. Lu Xuanji glanced around the room and finally saw the full picture of the 2 tier 6 abilities. Yun Wei asked. You don't need to know who I am, you just tell me what happened that night. If your answer satisfies me, I can tell the Chen family to give up chasing you. Mo Yunwei walked towards Lu Xuanji, as always enchanting figure, stretched out his hand to touch Lu Xuanji's face, but was touching leaving a moment ago. It seems that she has become accustomed to this kind of casual teasing, and has been integrated into her every word and deed. The answer that satisfies you. It is what you think, are you satisfied? Lu Xuanji said silently. Who knows what answers you are satisfied with? Let the Chen family give up chasing me, that's not necessary, as long as you don't lead people to mess with me. Lu Xuanjia thought that such an answer would always satisfy Mo Yunwei, right? Who knew that when Mo Yunwei heard this, he immediately glared at Lu Xuanjia and slapped him at him. Hey, what do you want? Of course, Lu Xuanjia couldn't stand obediently and be beaten. He grabbed Mo Yunwei's wrist and asked. Humph. Mo Yunwei's eyes were a little red, and he threw away Lu Xuanjia and grabbed his own hand. Get out of me, trash. Don't worry, my old lady is really bad for 8 lifetimes, how come you meet such a wasteful thing, so please. Lu Xuanjia shrugged, turned around and left. He couldn't explain to Mo Yunwei, I'm not a waste, I'm not a counselor, I'm just not interested in you, right? 2 tier 6 capable people, one left and the other blocked in front of the door, preventing Lu Xuanji from opening the door. What? Didn't you hear what Miss Yu said? Lu Xuanji glanced at the 2 of them and asked. Pick up you sooner or later. The 2 looked at each other before they let go. Miss. After Lu Xuanji left, 2 tier 6 capable people looked at Mo Yunwei and shouted with a worried expression on their faces. Mo Yun bit his lower lip slightly, with a forbearing look. Hold it back, I can't cry under my hands. You guys get out of here too. Mo Yunwei cried. The 2 capable people looked at each other, the woman pulled the other, and the 2 bowed their heads and walked out. Wow, Mo Yun pounced on the bed and burst into tears. He couldn't help it. She often walks by the river, and there is no wet shoes. She never expected that she would be planted on such a counselor. If you want to ask Mo Yunwei what he thinks, asking is regret, very regretful. After leaving this remote small hotel, Lu Xuanjia breathed a sigh of relief, and found another small hotel to stay together. Lu Xuanjia turned on the computer and began to search for the materials needed to synthesize Sun Wukong. The materials marked on the drawings all have only one name, not even a specific introduction. Lu Xuanji only had to find some information on the internet. God Iron Rod. This is easy to understand, it should be the golden cudgel of Sun Wukong in the legend. The question is there really a golden hoop in reality? That kind of thing, even if it exists, is a real artifact, right? How can I get it by myself? However, the formula only said it was a God Iron Rod, not a golden cudgel. Does it mean that as long as it satisfies the surface meaning of the 3 words, God Iron Rod, it can be counted? Lu Xuanji searched the internet for the keywords of the ingredients in the formula, and he got some useful information as expected. Shinti, after the new day, some secret realms similar to the dimensional space appeared in the wild. One of the large secret realms that have been developed around Shanghai City once had a new structure of iron with powerful energy, which ordinary fires can't melted. It is called the God Iron. There is also source stone. Like spar, this is a new type of ore scattered in the wild, much rarer than spar. There was once a wood element boss who bought this ore nationwide. It is temporarily known that only she can use the power of this ore. Because the energy of this ore has the function of repairing and catalyzing life, it is called the source stone. Although I don't know if it is the kind mentioned in the recipe, it is obvious that you can try it. As the night darkened, the light from the computer shone on Lu Xuanji's face, as if he had once again encountered the days of rushing to code all night not long ago. From a certain point of view, Lu Xuanji can be regarded as an otaku, so staying in one place for 3 days is not a problem. As 12 o'clock approached, a familiar voice rang. Originally, Lu Xuanji, who was a little tired after searching the data, instantly came to his mind, sign in. Lu Xuanjia shouted hopefully in his heart. Yesterday's heart ape gave him a lot of confidence. Maybe today he can check out a Tier 6 or Tier 7 species directly and break into the Xinchen Research Institute to take away the burning heart. However, the system disappointed him. The blood of the non-chief is not so easy to change. Ding! Sign-in is successful. Congratulations, you have opened the First Order species, the Red Earthworm illustration book. Red Earthworm, First Order, a species at the bottom of the food chain. The ordinary red earthworm is an excellent bait for fishing. Although born humble and fell into the soil, it possesses extremely tenacious vitality. Ability: immortal body, very weak. Daily creation limit: 500,000. Can be upgraded, can be advanced, can be integrated, not demonized. Earthworm. Lu Xuanjia twitched the corner of his mouth, and a big question mark popped out of his small head. System: isn't the sign-in reward getting better and better? Lu Xuanji asked the system. What a joke, of course not. The sign-in rewards are random. You may get a god-level species once you are sent to the soul, but it is more likely to be a low-level species. The system despises, what a spring and autumn dream. The categories of low-level species are very rich, no less than tens of billions, and there are only 72 million kinds of god-level species. In terms of probability, you are much more likely to get low-level species. However, if you can provide star core energy to the system will be able to enable more functions to help you with the probability of ascension getting advanced species. Lu Xuanjia listened quietly, and tentatively asked the system, your ultimate goal is not to use me to rule the world or something. Let me help you collect more energy and enhance your strength. Host, your imagination is so rich. The system said silently. The ultimate dream of this system is that wives and children are hot on the bed. If you can help me get an entity, then help me find 180 wives, and let me help you rule the world. But that kind of small goal is too unattractive for this system. The tone of the system made Lu Xuanjia unable to find flaws, but Lu Xuanji still couldn't trust the system. As a system, your intelligence seems a bit too powerful. Lu Xuanjia doubted. It's a showdown, don't install it. This system is actually a tool, and it's 100 or 80 times smarter than you. The system sighed and said helplessly. Haha, Lu Xuanjia said systematically, bragging is very powerful, if you have the ability, let me pick a god-ranked species. While arguing with the system, Lu Xuanji created a bloodworm. Looking at the earthworm in his hand, it was really the same as the red earthworm he used to fish before. Extract the immortal body, Lu Xuanji commanded the system. Although it is only a first-order creature, this ability of earthworms is definitely worth extracting. Ding! Your energy value is insufficient, extraction failed. Lu Xuanjia glanced at his own energy value, which was more than 60,000. It's just the ability of a Tier 1 creature, isn't 60,000 not enough? Moreover, since you are a tool spirit, why do you still have a ding? Isn't it possible to dub manually? The system said with a bit of sunere. To tell you the truth, it takes 500,000 energy points to extract the immortal body. Hey, I'm so angry. Lu Xuanji slapped the table. If the system is in front of him now, he really wants to beat him up. However, the system doesn't even have a body, it's parasitic on him, he can't beat himself up, right? I will endure. Didn't it always mean that the higher the rank, the more expensive the ability, the lower the rank, the cheaper the ability? Lu Xuanji asked. No, that is not actually the standard for extracting the price, the real standard is the strength of capacity. Earthworms are only Tier 1 creatures, but their will to survive is extremely firm. Even if they are broken in half, they will not die. After a period of recovery, they will become 2 earthworms. The undead ability it possesses surpasses the first-order limitation of its own race strength and belongs to one of the laws of strength. Although it is only an extremely weak, immortal body, the price is far lower than the value of ordinary Tier 5 or 6 abilities. Above, the system explained. After extracting the immortal body, I can also break into 2 sections without dying like an earthworm. How can I still have multiple clones? Lu Xuanji asked, raising his forehead. If this is the case, it's worth it. Multiple clones are impossible, but they can achieve immortality. With the immortality ability extracted from the earthworm, you can break into at least 5 segments without dying. Put the broken places together and you can pick them up within 5 minutes. Go back, the system added. Lu Xuanjia looked at the night outside, and had to get some spar tomorrow. Late at night, Lu Xuanji was heartless and slept peacefully. However, for Xinchen City, tonight is not destined to be a peaceful night. A bloody moon appeared in the sky, and then the clouds moved with the wind, and the dark clouds obscured the moon. A roar that seemed to come from the ancient desert sounded between the heavens and the earth, not high-pitched, but enough to reach everyone's ears. Except for Lu Xuanji, who was already asleep. This high-pitched cry, with a moving majesty, also made countless awakened people in the sky city of Xinchen City excitedly rushed to the window and looked in the direction of the sound. The awakened people actually have no method of cultivation. They have only one way to increase their strength, except relying on the automatic growth of their awakening ability over time. That is the treasure born from the heaven and the earth after acquiring the new sun, thereby enhancing own strength. And this kind of treasure may be plants, animals, ores, crystals, and so on. The easiest way to use it is eat. Not long ago, there was a news among the awakened that a new energy point was about to explode in Xinchen City. And tonight, there is no doubt that it is the vision caused by the explosion of energy points. The explosion of such energy points will often form a dimensional secret realm, and at least a lot of energy spars will be produced. That was only the worst result, and judging from the vision tonight, it may be far more than just some spars. This newly formed secret realm, the first batch of people to enter, are often the ones who grab the most oil and water. Mo Yunwei herself came for this energy point. At this moment, she heard the strange noise outside, and her eyes were swollen from crying. She quickly got up from the bed and ran to the window to look outside. At this moment, the face of Mo Yunwei, who was very charming, was firm and calm that Lu Xuanjia had never seen before. In fact, if she hadn't been so firm and steady, she would have fallen victim to the world of the awakened. Her family is not as strong as the Zhao family. If it weren't for her own talent and ability to bufan, and worshipping a powerful master, she might have been forced by the family to marry Zhao Chengfeng for marriage. She is still struggling with fate, and there is not much time to waste on her sorrow. However, once he remembered that he worked so hard to get rid of the fate of becoming a family pawn and marrying Zhao Chengfeng, and finally fell into such a waste, Mo Yunwei wished to die. Humph. Thinking of this, Mo Yun snorted slightly, his eyes rolled, but he called the 2 sixth-order masters of Own. Chu Yu, go and tell him that the energy points outside Xinchen City have exploded. This time the new secret realm, Tier 7 fierce beasts may appear. Miss, this is the news that we finally got, do you really want to tell him? Chu Yu raised her head to look at Mo Yunwei and asked. According to some energy fluctuations before the explosion of energy points, some big families can predict what kind of treasures may be in the new secret realm generated by the explosion of energy points. If you cooperate with those with prophecy, you can confirm the type of treasure. Such information is completely impossible to obtain by scattered people. Well, tell him, go if there is a seed. If he can get the best treasure in the secret realm, the labor and capital will marry him. Mo Yun said solemnly. Miss. Chu Yu widened her eyes and shouted in surprise. Miss is ranked 10th in the Southwest ability list. If it weren't for the late awakening ability, she must have competed with the 9th tier powerhouses on the master list. She is going to marry, at least she is also the heir of a large family like Zhao Chengfeng in the Southwest. Bar. That guy is nothing but a hooligan with no background. Go. Mo Yunwei just increased his voice and commanded. If not, in Mo Yunwei's heart, she now has only 2 choices, either marry him or kill him. Just marrying him like this, of course not reconciled, just killed him like this, and felt a little sad, after all, he was considered saving himself. Mo Yunwei decided to give him a chance. If he can pass the own test and prove that he is not a counselor, she will marry him. Anyway, she never needs to trade her marriage for any benefits, and she can still afford to raise a waist. However, Mo Yunwei seemed to have overlooked one point. She had never asked Lu Xuanjia's thoughts. For Lu Xuanjia, all this is completely inexplicable. Chu Yu and Chu Nan looked at each other, only to obey Mo Yunwei's orders, turning into mud, walking through the ground, and went to find Lu Xuanjia. At this time, the Chen family in the Sky City. In the brightly lit hall, the head of the Chen family gathered all the able-bodied people in the family. Today, there were 7 Sun Wei and the others. They went with the city guard to catch Lu Xuanji, but only 3 came back. Chen Guizhong said solemnly when the crowd arrived. Dad, wouldn't it be the city guards who released the water? Then how powerful is Lu Xuanji? Isn't it just a programmer in our second company? Chen Wenshou said to Chen Guizhong in disbelief. The city guard releases water, so do the capable people of our Chen family release the water? Chen Guizhong glanced at his elder son and asked. The 3 Sun Wei who were involved in the incident heard this and quickly explained. Then Lu Xuanjia is not an ordinary programmer, he is also an awakened, and he has more than one ability. As far as I know, he is at least a super powerful beast controller, and has the ability to transform wings, and the strength of his ability is at least tier 5. Dad, now the new secret realm has just opened, we can't waste our energy on him, right? Second son Du Shou continued. Which one of you will go there, kill him, and it will not be too late to go to the secret realm. Chen Guizhong heard the words of his second son and looked at the 5 sixth order capable persons on the side. 2 of them are from the Chen family, and the other 3 are scattered people hired heavily, and they are now considered to be the Chen family. Dad, let me go. Among the 5, the young man who seemed to be only 18 or 19 years old, exuding the chill that no one should get near, said. Tianshou, why don't you take 2 of them? Chen Guizhong saw that it was his son who asked for his order, so he looked at the other 6th order masters. The people sent before were all dead, and only these 7 tier 4 and 5 masters were still working with the city guards to encircle and suppress Lu Xuanjia. Not only did they fail to bring Lu Xuanjia back, but 4 died. Chen Guizhong also had some problems, rest assured. Dad, do you want to bring secret realm cupped hands to others? This is the secret realm of our Xinchen city. Regardless of the fact that he has come here, he has to hold it for me. Chen Tianshou said solemnly. Let them go to the secret realm. This time there are many people who burst out for the energy point. They all want to rush into the secret realm to grab the treasure in the first time. Our Chen family can't fall behind. Oh this, okay. Chen Guizhong hesitated for a while and nodded. In this way, Lu Xuanjia is not weak. We don't have time to clean up him now, so we will stabilize him first. If you can't do it, you should try not to do it first and tell him that we can forgive him for all the losses he caused to the Chen family. If he is willing to serve our Chen family, we can also give him 50 million a month. Quote. As for the benefits or anything, Tianshou, you can let it be. When our people come out of the secret realm, it's up to us to give it or not. Early the next morning, Lu Xuanji was about to leave the residence and head to Dongxing Market. This is the largest gem trading market in Xinchen City, and there are also various treasures for sale after the new day. However, in the market of the ground city, the so-called treasures after the new day, just look at it. As for the true and false, it will be a matter of opinion. After all, there are awakened beings now. If there are really treasures, can they still get these ordinary people? Boy, let's talk. Just after opening the door, there were 2 door gods standing at the door, Chunan said. It's really not going away, just say something straight. Lu Xuanjia paused and said helplessly. What's your attitude? A large pile of mud smashed towards Lu Xuanjia, and Chunan was very upset with Lu Xuanjia. He felt that this kid was completely unworthy of Miss, but Miss even gave him a chance instead of killing him. Lu Xuanji watched Chunan turn into a mud-struck right hand, his eyes dimmed. Yesterday, it was this kind of low-level ability that made people contemptuous, but it made him unable to resist, and it was very uncomfortable. But today, he used the wrong place in the wrong place. Although Lu Xuanji is still at the 5th rank, he has not even been able to extract the abilities of earthworms, and has not made any progress compared to yesterday, but he can create earthworms. As we all know, earthworm loosening soil is professional. Creation, earthworms, 50,000. As far as Lu Xuanji could see, he created 50,000 earthworms in the hands of Chunan's attack. In such a small area, 50,000 earthworms appeared, Chunan's hands that turned into mud, the mud puffed to the ground, and even the entire hand turned into entangled earthworms. Ah, Chu Nan screamed, and the whole person turned into a large mud, trying to fight against these earthworms. There was a puddle of mud in front of Lu Xuanji's door. The mud was covered with earthworms that were constantly twisting. The whole mud was still twisting and screaming. What attitude do I need? Lu Xuanjia put the backpack on his shoulders, turned and closed the door, and walked directly over the mud that Chu Nan had turned into. Looking for death. Chu Nan was furious, and saw a huge mud wave rushing towards Lu Xuanjia. In the waves, there were still a few earthworms faintly turning. A faint sneer appeared at the corner of Lu Xuanjia's mouth, and he murmured, "Not enough to eat. Free refills. 5,000 more." Puff. As another 50,000 earthworms appeared in the mud waves in front of them, the mud waves that filled the entire hotel corridor involuntarily fell on the ground, turning into a puddle, and there were still many earthworms entangled and turned. Chu Nan was silent for a while. What kind of weird ability is this? Where did these earthworms come from? Chu Nan is actually only a middle-level alien ability. Any part of his body can turn into mud. This kind of ability is not enough in the eyes of the awakened masters of the upper third order ability. For example, in front of elemental abilities, a fire can dry him, water elemental can dilute him, and wood elemental can draw energy from him. But because of Chu Yu's cooperation, Chu Nan often acted as an assassin, unknowingly appearing next to the enemy, suffocating people with mud, even sneaking into the enemy's body and attacking from the fragile internal organs. Even the elemental awakened, once attacked from within, there is nothing to do with Chu Nan. Unless, those with rank 8 elemental abilities can become elements. And Chu Yu's ability, the last walking ability of the third rank, she can walk through any material. It doesn't have any offensive power, and when combined with Chu Nan, it can often play a role of 1 + 1 greater than 2. Therefore, the two have always been inseparable. Seeing that Chu Nan was punished by a bunch of earthworms, the stunned Chu Yu also recovered and sneaked over to Lu Xuanji, with a flashing cold dagger in his hand, trying to hold Lu Xuanji away. Lu Xuanji knew that the other party came together, and as soon as Chu Yu disappeared, he took precautions and directly hid himself into Chu Nan's heart. With the heart hidden, Lu Xuanjia can transform himself into a heart ape, hiding in his heart with flaws. The heart ape body could not invade the two before, because their hearts were as solid as a rock. Two Tier 6 abilities, dealing with Lu Xuanjia and Tier 5, were naturally full of confidence. But now, the Xingxing of the two can be said to be flawed. Seeing Lu Xuanji disappear suddenly, Chu Yu who had just appeared was startled. Lu Xuanji jumped out of Chu Nan's heart. A thumb the size of Lu Xuanji, who was full of illusory flames, landed on the ground, and grew up to return to his normal size. Level 6. But that's it. Lu Xuanjia walked towards the elevator. "Brother, are you okay?" Chu Yu took the dagger angrily, and asked about the piles of mud in the corridor. This was the first time this happened, and she was a little at a loss. "Miss, let us tell you that the energy points outside the city have exploded, and the new secret realm has been born, and there are Tier 7 fierce beasts inside," Chu Nan said angrily to Lu Xuanjia. "In any case, Mrs. Task is still to be completed." Lu Xuanji pressed the elevator. "I see. Secret Realm is a keen adventure place for the Awakeners. You can get a lot of special treasures that will only appear after the new day. Not only can you ascension your own strength, you can also sell it at a good price. Basically, you can find a third-order spiritual herbs, and selling it will be enough for an ordinary person to eat and drink for a lifetime." Lu Xuanji also wanted to go to the secret realm to find Shentai, but he was not in a hurry. Synthesizing Sun Wukong was a big project no matter what. Not bad for a while, the secret realm will not disappear after it appears. If there is, it will be taken away by someone. You can go directly to the person who took the Shanti. However, Mo Yunwei would send someone specially to tell herself this kind of news. What does she mean? Seeing that Lu Xuanji was indifferent, Chu Nan continued. "Miss said, if you can get the most precious treasure in the secret realm, she will marry you." Ahem. What are you talking about? Rao was Lu Xuanjia. He couldn't help but choke on his own saliva when he heard this, and asked Chu Nan back. "Miss said to give you a chance. If you can get the most precious treasure in this secret realm, you will marry you," Chu Nan said solemnly, with some dissatisfaction in his tone. What a arrogant miss is. Marrying this kid would be too wrong. "I won't go to this secret realm. Lu Xuanji refused decisively. Are you kidding me? Is this treating yourself as a tool person, or is it entangled with yourself? Dip. When the elevator arrived, Lu Xuanji walked directly into the elevator and kept poking the button to close the elevator door. Big brother, what does that kid mean? In the corridor, Chu Yu held the pale Chu Nan Dao. At this time, Chu Nan had turned back into a human form, but it felt like his body was hollowed out. That kid is also an individual talent. Use a Tier 1 alien beast to deal with me, a Tier 6 ability person. Chu Nan smiled bitterly and was abused. On the contrary, his impression of Lu Xuanji changed a little. At Dongxing Market, Lu Xuanjia went around and stopped in front of a larger rough store. The entire store is about 200 to 300 square meters, and it is filled with rough stones of various shapes, including jade and spar rough. Most of the rough stones such as jade are open windows. After all, Xinchen City is not the place where jade is produced, and there are not so many people who try their luck. Most of them still take what money and what goods to buy. At 10 o'clock in the morning, many customers were already shopping in the store, talking about these stones. Lu Xuanji went to the boss directly. How many spars are there now in your store? The boss took a look at Lu Xuanji. How much do you want? I can give you as much as you want. All. Lu Xuanjia glanced at the stones in the spar area and replied. Young man, although the spar is not worth much, but I'll say there are 200 tons, do you know how much it costs? The boss asked Lu Xuanji with a funny look in his eyes. How many? 12 million. Cost price, buy it. The boss asked jokingly. Wanted. Swipe the card. Lu Xuanji slapped his own bank card on the counter. There was a reward for the Money Rat illustrated book, which was 100 million yuan, which was not used up yet. The boss who was originally lying on the reclining chair heard this, and immediately sat upright, looking at Lu Xuanjia in surprise. This shameless kid can actually come up with 12 million. Xiao Zheng looked at Lu Xuanjia a few more times, but he missed it. Xiao Zheng rolled his eyes, stood up lightly, and welcomed Lu Xuanjia into the VIP room. I think the little brother should be an awakened one, right? Lu Xuanji did not answer. Xiao Zheng couldn't help feeling a little dissatisfied, and he was quite cold. Haha, that's it, the spar that the little brother wants. We still have at least 1,000 tons in our warehouse. If the little brother wants 50 million, take it together. All. Lu Xuanji replied affirmatively. Xiao Zheng's eyes flickered. So many crystal stones, what is this kid doing? Could it be that there are already awakened ones who can extract the energy of the spar? In this way, I will take my little brother to the warehouse to see the goods. Xiao Zheng suggested. Lu Xuanjia thought for a while and nodded. By the way, I still want to rent your warehouse for a while. With so many spars, there is always a place to put them. The spar after the energy value has been converted, on the surface, just loses its luster. Maybe it can be used as waste to recover a wave of funds. No problem. Little brother is the main customer. Our warehouse, you can use it for free. Xiao Zheng patted his chest, then returned to his desk, took the key, and took Lu Xuanjia to the warehouse. There was a long corridor, and there was a locked door at the entrance of the corridor. Xiao Zheng told Lu Xuanji that through this corridor, he arrived at the warehouse. Lu Xuanjia expressed suspicion. In the warehouse where the spar rough stone is stored, a rough stone as large as a dozen meters or 20 meters high, such a passage, is it convenient to transport the rough stones in and out? Lu Xuanjia glanced at Xiao Zheng, summoned the blue wing-bird and heart ape to the neighborhood, and walked in. He wanted to see what Xiao Zheng played. Hey! Xiao Zheng behind him quickly closed the door, took out an old gunpowder pistol in his hand and pointed it at Lu Xuanji, with a smirk on his face. It's an awakened person, really a local tyrant, tens of millions of eyes don't blink. Hold your head in your hands and squat down for me. Xiao Zheng approached Lu Xuanji step by step and scolded. You know that I am the awakened, do you think your stuff is useful to me? Lu Xuanji was speechless and asked Xiao Zheng. Haha, awakener, I bah, something, a group of monsters, you really think you are superior? Do you know what my corridor is made of? It's spar skin. Do you know what's the use of spar skin? The spar skin can block your abilities, even the ability technology can't be used here. The effect is better than what you call an energy blocker. Xiao Zheng said complacently. He was the first person to discover that the spar skin had a blocking effect on the awakener's abilities. Relying on his own business of selling spar, he built many such forbidden houses. Once he finds the awakened, he will try his best to trick the awakened into such a forbidden room, kill them, and take money and treasures. Xiao Zheng has no awakening ability, but to some extent, he can be said to be an awakened killer. After the new day, people were divided into awakened people and ordinary people, naturally divided into classes. Usually, it is natural that the awakened person with greater power is more noble, but are ordinary people really willing to do this? 3 years ago, they were still the same ordinary people. Some people who were not awakened, even owned a lot of business, and were considered masters before the new day. They couldn't accept this kind of contrast. A small fool, a vagrant, just because of good luck, Xinri awakened and stepped on them. Xiao Zheng kept approaching Lu Xuanji, looking a little mad. He laughed loudly, ridiculing the dignified awakened, and fell into his trap. Lu Xuanji looked at him with pity, and Xiao Zheng could only vent his dissatisfaction with this absurd world in this way. Even Lu Xuanji felt a bit empathetic to him. Lu Xuanjia is also an ordinary person without the ability to awaken, but now, he is a creator. Xiao Zheng's gun almost reached Lu Xuanjia's head, but Lu Xuanjia didn't panic at all, using the golden ape body. Lu Xuanjia's body has undergone subtle changes, his muscles have become stronger and more prominent, and his body exudes a faint golden light. With his 5th order ability strength, ordinary firearms, there is no way to cause damage to his ape golden body. What? How could you use superpowers? When Xiao Zheng saw it, his arrogant face showed a trace of fear, and he subconsciously retreated a step. He was deeply impressed by the abilities of the awakened. His son-in-law awakened his abilities in the new sun and became an awakened. The son-in-law, who had suffered a lot of anger here, has since tortured their family for a year. Later, Xiao Zheng discovered that the companion stone skin of the spar had the ability to isolate the awakened, and then designed to kill his son-in-law. At that time when Li Bengal broke down and the rules collapsed, no one found that he had killed anyone, and no one could punish him. Up to now, Xiao Zheng has used this method to kill more than a dozen awakened people. There has never been an awakened person who can use abilities in the stone skin building he specially built. I thought you were making any ideas. I was really nervous. When did I tell you that I was the awakener? Lu Xuanji approached Xiao Zheng with a sneer. Just when Lu Xuanji was about to deal with Xiao Zheng, there was a huge knocking sound from the iron gate at the other end of the passage, like a beast, constantly hitting the iron gate. What's that? Lu Xuanji asked, narrowing his eyes, clutching Xiao Zheng's collar. Xiao Zheng's expression changed, struggling hard, and murmured, "Nothing, nothing." It can be seen that he is in a panic. And the more he panicked, the more curious Lu Xuanjia was about the things behind the iron gate. He carried Xiao Zheng and walked over to the iron gate. No, Xiao Zheng kept shaking his head, trying to stop Lu Xuanjia. I was wrong, I was really wrong. Don't you want spar? I give it to you for free. I also have a mining team in the Nanshan secret realm, I will dig for you for free. Xiao Zheng pleaded with Lu Xuanjia's hand. The Nanshan secret realm is one of the early secret realms at the beginning of the new day. With this secret realm, the Chen family sat in the position of one of the 3 major families in Xinshan City. 2 years ago, Nanshan's secret realm resources were exhausted, and it was thrown out to pick up some leftovers for these ordinary people. It is now one of the 5 low-level crystal mineral areas in Xinshan City. Without saying a word, Lu Xuanji kicked on the iron gate. In addition to the powers, the awakened person of Tier 5 has also gained a lot of physical strength, and Lu Xuanji kicked the iron gate flying. Flying out with the iron gate, there was also a thin white figure, as light as a shadow. A look of surprise flashed in Lu Xuanji's eyes. Whether he was mistaken, she was a woman. How did such a thin woman knock the iron door out of that sound? The woman's face was bloodless, her eyes were filled with deep darkness, filled with emotions of hatred and disgust, her dark eyes, as if there was no trace of light. The woman was only wearing a loose white dress, her feet bare, and her wrists and feet were bound by chains. After Lu Xuanji's foot, the woman floated farther than the iron gate, and then she slammed into the opposite wall before she slowly slipped down and fell to the ground motionless. Lu Xuanji almost thought she was dead, if it weren't for the faint breathing. Lu Xuanji looked at the room. It was about 20 square meters. It should be the same as the channel, using spar skin and insulating material. There is only one messy bed in the room, and nothing else. The whole house may be because there is no sunshine all year round, and it emits a faint rancid smell, and I don't know where it came from. This scene really shocked Lu Xuanjia's perception of this world. Before that, the deepest darkness he could think of was nothing but Su and himself in the workplace, being forced into such a situation by his boss. What's going on? You should be able to explain it to me. Lu Xuanji asked Xiao Zheng, who was dragging his right hand to the ground in front of him. Bang! With a muffled sound, he was thrown to the ground with Xiao Zheng. The woman who had smashed the iron gate out of the muffled like a beast shrank from the corner of the wall and trembled, her eyes full of fear when she looked at Xiao Zheng. Xiao Zheng swallowed hardly. It's over, everything is over. When the deepest sin of his life was judged in the sun, even if he was mentally vicious, he couldn't help but start to tremble. Xiao Zheng got up, rushed towards the door, and was kicked back by Lu Xuanji. Heartfire. Lu Xuanjia knew that there was no need for this person to exist in the world. It is said that the sky has no eyes, and maybe there are such people who have not been able to awaken the ability, otherwise he can do more than just that. Ah! Xiao Zheng screamed sternly, and a ball of flames emerged from his heart, turning him into a burning man. How deep is the fear and panic in his heart, the flames on his body will be full at this time. In less than 2 minutes, only a mass of twisted black ash remained on the spot. Lu Xuanji walked towards the woman. Who knows, as soon as she stretched out her hand, the woman clung to him and took a bite, like a beast. Lu Xuanji waved the woman out, as if she had no weight. The woman hit the wall again and then slid down. Hiss! Lu Xuanjia looked at his forearm, feeling a little depressed. It was not a problem with tooth marks, but a bite of meat. What's your name? Are you the awakened? How long have you been locked up here? Lu Xuanji tried to ask a bit of information from the woman, but no matter what he said, the woman just hugged her legs in the corner and ignored him. Okay, you are free. Lu Xuanji sighed and turned to leave. It's really unlucky. You can also encounter this kind of thing when you buy a spar, maybe it's not suitable for you to buy it. In other words, where is the warehouse where Xiao Zheng placed the spar? The Chen family is offended, and don't care about committing a crime in the ground city, right? Lu Xuanjia thought about it. Anyway, I'm already wanted, and I don't care about memorizing a few more cases. Lu Xuanji thought about this, his depressed mood immediately relaxed, and he turned to Xiao Zheng's store, preparing to convert the 200 tons of spar in the store, and then visit his warehouse. Convert energy value. Lu Xuanjia touched a rough spar and ordered the system at Xiao Zheng's store. The conversion is successful, and the energy value is 120,000. Groove. Such a large piece of rough stone can only be converted to 120,000. The system, your heart is black when you cut it out. Lu Xuanji complained in his heart. Anyway, you didn't pay the money, and you still get the deduction for nothing, so let's get the next one. The system urged. That's right. Lu Xuanji touched the spar in the entire store, and then went to other stores to patronize, walked down the market circle, and directly obtained the energy value of 6.2 million. Extract, immortal body. With the energy value, Lu Xuanjia felt that his waist was hard, and ordered the system. Extracted successfully. Expends energy worth 500,000. Lu Xuanji was about to go to Xiao Zheng's warehouse again, but was stopped by a young man in casual clothes and a hood. The teenager looked only 18 or 9 years old, very young, and looked a little cool, which made Lu Xuanji a little bit envious and jealous. Ah, my lost youth. Lu Xuanjia looked down at the plaid shirt he had worn for a week, and fell into deep thought. Lu Xuanjia, let's talk. The boy stretched out a hand to Lu Xuanjia, as if to shake hands, said to Lu Xuanjia. Why do you want to talk to me? Who are you? Lu Xuanji did not answer, laughed at himself, and asked. Chen Tianshou. Seeing that Lu Xuanjia was not giving face, the boy retracted his hand and put his hands in his pockets and replied. Oh, okay, what do you want to say? Lu Xuanji gave him a surprised look and asked. The boy pointed to a coffee shop next to him and motioned to find a place to sit down and talk. Lu Xuanji followed, and the two sat facing each other. You are an individual talent. I heard that you have 2 abilities, both at tier 5 level. Can you tell me, why did you work as a programmer in the second company? Chen Tianshou took a sip of coffee and asked like a chat with an old friend. He was calm, like an old and spicy high-ranking person, not a teenager under 20 years old. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.